D&D and Pathfinder supplement that brings Pokemon-style gameplay to your tabletop games is finally getting a massive update. Roll for Combat, the company that brought you Battlezoo, Eldamon, as well as countless other supplements for your tabletop role-playing games, has just announced Eldamon Legends, which is a fantastic Kickstarter that you can back now to bring all sorts of new Eldamon, elemental powers, and items to your worlds. If you're new here, Eldamon are elemental spirits that take on the form of creatures, which you and your party can make alliances and travel the world with. You can train them, evolve them into more powerful forms, and pit them in battles against other Eldamon. Or you yourself could become an elemental avatar and wield powers of darkness, or music, or fire. And the brand new Eldamon Legends Kickstarter brings you a bunch of new items that you and your party can equip, over 136 more Eldamon to populate your world with, and brand new legendary Eldamon to track down. Plus, the Kickstarter has all sorts of goodies available for its backers, including special dice, deluxe covers for the original Eldamon series, and more. So be sure to check out the Eldamon Legends Kickstarter today to begin harnessing the elements for yourself.
Awesome.
Hey, we're live. Look at that.
Hello, everybody.
That was
Welcome
quick.
to Roll for Combat Live. I'm Mark Seifter, director of game design for Roll for Combat, and this is Stephen Glicker. He is the publisher of Roll for Combat.
I feel like I am the publisher because that's all I've been doing is publishing.
Yeah, I mean it's a difficult and important job to make things happen. A lot of people think, oh, you can just go out there and just be a game designer and make things, and sometimes you can. Like if you're a very impressive person who can just do everything yourself, you can just do everything yourself. But I feel that it's nice to have Steven as a publisher who is doing the publisher things, because I don't know how I would do it all. Like, Luke from Pirate Borg does it all, including his own like art and cartography too.
Oh, well, but he has his brother runs the company, and so that's
okay. So he does have some help on the business side.
Yeah, no.
What
His
about
brother
Evan from Nimble does it all, but he doesn't do as much as Pirate
Evan
Borg.
does it all, and Evan has he's very impressive. I'm not downgrading him, but you know what? If we had as much as Nimble had, we'd be able to do it all too.
That's fair. He just doesn't have as many things coming out as Roll for Combat.
Yeah, I think I kind of overdid it a little this time. I think I actually bit off more than I can chew for the first time. So.
But now we know the amount we can chew. And so we can stop increasing chewing and just stay at the correct amount.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
There's so many cool things, though, that people have to be excited for at the very least. So that part is good.
I think I need someone else to answer emails. I think that's the problem. I need to stop answering my own emails. Oh, is anyone even on this thing? I don't see anyone. Is anyone here?
I mean, it shows that there's a decent number of people watching. I just haven't seen any comments yet. Maybe that's because we need to explain why evil PCs kill your D&D campaigns. And I did see a few people saying good evening, and y'all are doing fine right after you asked.
There we go.
This is an interesting question about why evil PCs kill your D&D campaigns that even I recently saw a very related but not exactly the same question on Reddit, which was, why are all of the recent Pathfinder evil adventures against evil opponents? And I feel like my answer to that Reddit question is connected to why I would say that the evil PCs sometimes kill your D&D and Pathfinder campaign.
Well, I think it's going to be completely different. So
okay, well then this is going to be exciting. I love it when it can be fun just invalidating when everybody on the show agrees with each other, but I actually like it more when we have different perspectives, because I haven't learned something from your perspective, and hopefully you learned something from that too. Mm-hmm. Oh, Khadgar sent us some Turkish lira and said, okay, resent for I can't actually read it. It's RESNT for IY started. I don't know if it's like a abbreviation.
There you go. That's what it meant. It meant exactly what you just said.
Okay.
Just be happy that you understood any of that. Let's see. Hold on. I gotta reload everything so I can do super chats and things, because every so often YouTube will crash at Chrome. And I just got to redo it. Anyhow, so here is the thing that I wanted to talk about. Okay, first, there actually is a reason. So supposedly there is with the upcoming season for D&D, the season of whatever it's called, Monsters season of, what's the first season they're doing with
The new upcoming D&D season.
yeah, where it takes place in Ravenloft.
Yeah, I know that it's got Ravenloft. It's season of horror.
Season of horror or something. And supposedly the rumor is that they're going to be doing evil stuff in there, or you can play evil characters, or you can be evil in some way. That's where I got it from, because that's where the rumor is. And I was thinking about it because there's 2 times where, here we go. Okay, now it's working. Is that Paizo put out an evil campaign, and I remember this, that everyone asked for an evil campaign. Everyone would beg, one time I think, or maybe 1 or 2, that everyone begged Paizo to put out an evil campaign, and they finally did it, and it sold terribly.
Steven, you said you were going to come at it from a different way, but
really?
My answer to the question of why are Paizo's recent evil things against evil was going to be the same answer, which is people begged Paizo to put out an adventure that was evil against good, and they did. And it was like, yeah, you can play Nazis who are crushing Underground Railroad, people who are trying to free, be abolitionists and free slaves from slavery. But who actually wants to do that?
Right.
Like, do you really want to do that? Is it going to feel good to do that? Because that happens enough in the real world that you being the person who does that, and most people maybe thought they wanted an evil campaign that was really, really evil and doing horrific atrocities, but then they didn't, or it didn't sell as well. And so that's the answer to the Reddit question of why are the recent Paizo evil ones like evil versus evil, where it's like, I might be an evil vampire, but I'm not like murdering babies and drinking their blood. I'm fighting politically opposed vampires who are also in this vampire city where everyone's evil.
Well, maybe it's good. It's just you and me. So this is going to take a little while. Let's get philosophical. Let's go back, because this could take a few minutes. This could take a little time, but I'm going to start at the beginning, and we'll go for there, and we'll go into story beats and story writing and how evil's portrayed in literature and movies, because then that's going to get into it. It all will make sense. Fun. So let's first go with evil. So evil is fascinating because evil is a social construct. Because what's evil now is not necessarily what evil, like if you look at Rome, okay, classic Rome, Jesus Christ, the stuff they were doing there, a lot of it was very what we would consider evil. But to them, it was just everyday life, you know? I mean,
some of the evil stuff we would say is morally evil that Rome did was considered to be an upgrade on how evil some of the things before. For example, the word decimate, which is used not correctly a lot in modern times, came from Rome, where they decided that they would use a lottery to randomly kill
if your legion lost a battle. If you lost
or
a battle.
Against opponents who refused to surrender.
Correct.
They would randomly kill 1/10 of their people for refusing to surrender.
Yes.
And that's horrible.
Yes. That's where decimate comes from.
It caused some people to surrender, and many people up to that point in that region would kill everyone who refused to surrender, except like maybe the women and children, right?
Yeah. They would kill everyone. They would enslave everyone, and they would salt and poison all the wells. And then they would salt the fields so that nothing could ever grow there again. Okay, but it was like they were so evil.
So Rome's evil stuff they were doing was, for its time, seen as being almost progressive. But like you're saying, Stephen, evil is a construct that is that we also often use to like create in-groups and out-groups to justify what the edge of behavior is and should be.
Right.
And in fiction, is used to like create these enemies who are like these almost cartoonish, unrealistic enemies. And I remember reading something about someone who actually went through World War II and fought Nazis, but hated like the Hogan's Heroes Nazis who were just like these, we'll kill everyone Nazis, because they were like, this is teaching people to expect that unless you look like a TV villain with like a mustache and are just cackling, that they won't be able to see real evil, because these actual Nazis did not look like that. They looked like a regular person who was doing horrific atrocities and then just going home and eating lunch with their family. Yeah. And so, like, fiction creates these out of control stereotypes of evil, whereas all this mundane evil is just happening.
We did have a question, actually. Does Galarian have anything resembling the Roman Empire? And I don't mean the Greek stuff. You know, so the thing about Galarian, that's the world of Pathfinder. Something cool about that. It always has what I call the World of Warcraft model, is that every region is completely different, and, like, you know, from every other region right next to it. So, which
Kaldor is kind of a Roman Empire / Byzantine Empire situation sometimes, although it also changes itself. But if you look at least some of the names are kind of like that, and it did have a senate in addition to its ruler. So, like, I would say Taldor goes into that in some regards.
So back to this now. Let's go to even our society. Let's go with probably the most, quote, famous evil act is thou shalt not kill, and killing is, quote, considered evil. But if you're a soldier and you're in war, and is it then considered evil? You know, so again, it's a social construct. Evil is in the
I think religion, which you brought up with thou shalt not kill, would say that it's still evil, but that maybe it was a necessary evil, and that you will have to seek forgiveness for committing the evil to try to prevent another evil. And we'll get into moral philosophy rabbit hole that is kind of different than our usual role for combat.
Right. But my point is that evil is fascinating because evil is in the eye of the beholder, and it's in the eye of many things. It's in the eye of not only the beholder, it's in the eye of the society, both local, regional, because, like, even if you take, like, the United States, again, not getting political, it's like different states might consider something necessarily that's evil, but considered uncouth in one state, but is considered totally fine in another state. Or one country is considered totally fine in one country, but very different in another country. So evil is a weird thing, because evil is what you consider it to be. But with that in mind, let's break down evil one step further, and something that evil has in common pretty much throughout is that what we as Americans usually consider evil is things that allow you to take a shortcut to get either money or power or something similar. And I will give you an example.
To simplify that, I would say things that allow you to benefit yourself.
Correct. Yes.
In a selfish, often exploitative way, and perhaps at the expense of others.
Yes. So let's do something that everyone has done once in their life. I'm pretty sure. And it would be considered evil. And let's start with the most basic one I can think of, and that is cutting a line. So whether you do it on purpose or by accident, if you cut a line, that is considered not so evil, but
that we're in moral philosophy, Stephen, can it be evil if you cut the line by accident? Okay. Is it evil if you do something by accident?
Let me rephrase it.
If you trip and bump into someone and then they wind up getting hit by a car because they fall into the street, is that really murder?
let's make this let's say accidental. Let's say you purposely cut the line because the line's really long, you're in a rush, you need to get somewhere.
You have a desperate situation. Someone needs to get to the hospital. You think that you probably need it more than those people today. Even if you're a polite person who almost never cuts a line, you probably try to do it once or twice for that. You may have even sort of tried to use diplomacy / intimidation to be like, please let me through. This is desperate.
Right.
But then you may have moved through and then just hope to get forgiveness instead of permission from people.
So that's something probably everyone has done. I mean, not that I do it a lot, but I've cut lines. Everyone does it once. It just is something, and it's in the scale of how much it hurts people. It's about as low as it gets. That's like a pretty low stakes thing.
But you're going pretty Kantian with evil, right? The categorical imperative, where if the golden rule, essentially, if something is evil if everyone doing it would cause things to break down. So for instance, cutting in line is evil via Kant's categorical imperative, because if literally everyone continually cut in line, there would be no
It would be
line.
chaos.
There would just be a chaotic mob.
It would be absolute chaos. Right.
Front.
The lines serve a purpose, which is to keep order. And by cutting the line, you are causing chaos and disorder. Therefore, the line serves a purpose, and it is, quote, good, because it serves the purpose, it keeps order, as opposed to cutting the line would serve. I actually had that happen to me. I went to a playoff game in Chicago with the White Sox. Now, in New York, the lines are extremely organized to go see a baseball game. And mostly because security's so high, so no one wants to screw around. I went to Chicago, and it literally was just a mob. It was just like a mob of people going to an entrance. There was no lines, no order, and I was like, this is horrible. And also, you can't cut a line because there was no line. So that was like, I remember thinking that. I'm like, wow, you know what? I'd rather stand in a line all day than to deal with that ever again. Like, it was such a horrible experience. Anyhow, and now you can continue down that path of like, all right, how about we just go through them all? Like that, I'm not going to go through them all, but like, thou shalt not steal. Okay.
Other things that would be breaking the categorical imperative, breaking the golden rule, that if you thought that if everyone did the same thing you did, that things, and including doing it to you, that things would be worse.
Right.
Now, I think I see where you're going with this, which is that at the table, at a D&D or Pathfinder or any tabletop role-playing game, you kind of need people to be working together to tell a collaborative story. And if everyone is actually doing those same exploitative things that violate the categorical imperative but benefit only them,
well, no, actually,
then it can mess up everybody else's time.
Yes and no. That's part of it. But let's get to the basics of D&D and Pathfinder and all TTRPGs. Is that the reason you might do something, let's say steal, is because therefore you get money or you get an object that you didn't pay for. Therefore, you benefit yourself. Well, here's the thing. If I play a campaign, if I play a D&D or Pathfinder or TTRPG campaign, and I'm playing good characters, I'm still going to get to level 20, no matter what, because that's the purpose. The storytelling, I will still get the power, I will still get the gold, and I will still get the rewards, whether I'm playing a good character or, and this is what's very important, a bad character. There's nothing preventing me. Now, let's just say we change this around, and let's say the rules were different in Pathfinder, that if you play a good character, you get half the XP. Let's just say, then this is where we get interesting, is that you say, okay, we're going to make a campaign, and if you play a good character, you can get up to level 5, and that's it, or level 10, but you're never going to get above that. You just won't. It's just, and the game ends at like, you're just not as powerful. You won't see as much stuff. You just aren't rewarded as much. But if you play evil, you get all the rewards and you get to see level 20 and you get to see all the cool stuff that no one else gets to see. Well, then there is an actual reward or an actual benefit for playing evil. And the thing is, with the way TTRPGs work is like, that's not how they work. Whether I play good or evil,
it depends.
It depends. But I'm saying,
ones that give you XP for money,
right,
actually benefit you for being a complete awful person and just robbing the rest of your party and be like, yeah, I didn't find any treasure in there, and you take it all for yourself, and you get all the XP because you got all the money. Like, there are RPGs like that. They're more of the old school.
That's very old school. I'm talking about modern TTRPGs, modern games, and I'm talking about, you would have to basically write, I think, or design a game around a morality system for it to work correctly. I'm just using the way it currently works. I'm using modern 5.5 and Pathfinder 2nd Edition as the benchmarks, because right now there is basically no reason to play evil, because the rewards and the end goals end up being the same. That's the first thing. The second thing is, a big aspect of being evil is what we were talking about, is that you betray others and you basically end up killing your friends and others to succeed. It's basically survival of the fittest. So it's very hard to play a game built around cooperation and built around almost the game's basically built around you having a party that you work together to make a game built around not working together and killing each other where there's only one person left standing, or betraying each other. And then how do you play, how do you do that? So again, how do you can't really play an evil campaign with the current rule sets.
Well, I think that there are evil characters who do work together. In the D&D alignment system, lawful evil often works together a lot. However, the problem is once you've opened the door to an evil campaign, you've opened the door to all of these bad impulses. And just because lawful evil usually works together, but sometimes they betray each other, right? And so if you were lawful evil and had a group working together, just great, that people would be like, yeah, that seems reasonable. But if one of the lawful evil people betrayed everyone, they wouldn't be like, well, that's wrong for your alignment. They'd be like, oh yeah, I guess that happened. Mm-hmm. So you're right that it increases the danger if you don't know exactly who you're playing with and you don't have a strong social contract. I want to go back to what you said about RPGs not rewarding being evil, though. I think that comes down to the adventure and the GM. You can have moral dilemmas where the evil choice is the easy way out of or one that is like somewhat evil, but that still good people might do the evil thing. Mm-hmm. Like you can have a thing where it's like, yes, the demon lord is currently in the body of this little girl. If you kill the little girl, that will banish the demon lord. And you don't even have to fight the demon lord. If you're willing to fight the demon lord, though, you can save the girl and get rid of the demon lord. Okay, that's you could have an option like that.
Yeah, no, that's
and in that case, you might have a story that was very tense where the evil character, let's say they're evil, but they really are friends with the rest of the party and they do want to save the world. They're just an evil selfish kind of person, and they hear that the party is coming to let's fight the demon lord, but they only care about their friends. They're like, my friends might die if we fight the demon lord. I might die, and so they just unilaterally kill the little girl, and so to avoid the fight. Like you could have stories like that. Some groups would think that's awesome, like that was a major turning point. Others would be really mad at the one person who was the evil character for killing the girls. Like, no, we reached a group consensus that we were going to fight the demon lord. You took that decision out of our hands. And it completely depends between two groups, whether that was like one of the moments they'll remember for the rest of their life as being like tragic and emotionally charged and interesting, or whether that's a horror story about one of the worst players they've ever played with who just didn't listen to what anyone else said they wanted to do. So that's another reason that you're right about evil being so hard. Is that it depends on the group and even the people who aren't playing the evil characters.
So when it comes to literature, the one I'm going to look at is ones, maybe you've watched these or not, but there's a couple of, I'll just do TV shows because those are most common. You have The Sopranos, which was very famous for, it portrayed someone in the mob. And by the way, by the end, everyone dies because evil, evil. So, and everyone betrays each other.
Did a great job of showing that evil. The one that the story I was talking about, the World War II vet who didn't like Hogan's Heroes, he would probably like it because it showed Tony Soprano is just this ruthlessly evil, horrible character, but he's also like, he's a father and he'll just go home and be with his family. And that's what that's what like evil people in the real world, or people we might call evil because evil is a moral construct, are like.
But his whole thing is that, he was running illegal activities in the mob and his reward was money and power and, and fear, like people were scared of him. However, because his methods of getting money and power were killing people by the end, and this what happens to all these stories is like everyone ends up getting betrayed, and before like everyone ends up dying one way or the other because that's the end goal, that's the end result, which is only fascinating because that is also the end result of D&D, but it's a different way. But the one that's actually better, and the one that everyone talks about to this, like actually The Wire is very good, but I'm going to do a better one because The Wire has 5 different stories from different angles, so that's actually not a good example. It's a good example. Only the first season, but the other seasons aren't
because
as good.
Of the fact that both the police and the drug dealers are very shady, and
Well, it goes
shows
through,
that there are no real heroes in The Wire.
Well, the Wire shows how drugs basically work in different aspects. It showed like, if I'm trying to remember the order, it was like first it was showing it from the point of view of the drug cartels, the drug dealers, and then one season was actually the ports. That was the best one, I thought. That was really interesting. It's showing how the drugs even get into the country. The last season was the paper and how that works and like how news works. I don't think that was as interesting. I forgot about the other two seasons, but each season focused on a different aspect of it. But the king of them all, by far, is Breaking Bad, and nothing even comes close. Now, Breaking Bad, that was so freaking good. And if I was designed, so if you came to me and said, Steve, I need you to write an evil campaign, I would say, got it, Breaking Bad. And actually, it's very easy to do, because Breaking Bad showed a guy, let's start from the beginning. And did you watch Breaking Bad, Mark?
I watched the beginning, so
Okay,
I will be able to empathize with this beginning
You'll know
part.
enough. You'll know
found
enough.
that I just did not like it at all, so I stopped watching it.
Yeah.
But
No, it's a
did
rough
watch
show.
The beginning.
It's a rough show. So in the beginning, it starts off, there's a man. He's a teacher. He has no money. He has cancer. And it's basically untreatable unless he gets a ton of money very quickly. And
Right.
otherwise he will
He
die.
also was ripped off of one of his ideas
Yes,
by
he had
like
a
his
patent-
college buddy who became like a millionaire.
Yeah, like a billionaire, right.
Or maybe even a billionaire.
Yeah,
Just
him
very,
and his
very
buddy.
rich.
I forgot about that aspect. Him and his buddy came up with this idea, and his buddy became like a billionaire, and his buddy actually was going to pay for him.
His buddy wants to pay for the cancer. He wants
Right.
to give him pity money.
Yeah.
But this man his chemist has too much pride.
Right.
He will not take the pity money
will
from the
not take
person who betrayed him.
So he decides to sell meth to make money.
He makes a better kind of meth than anyone was making because he's a brilliant chemist.
Right. And he ends up becoming like it was the best meth ever. And it becomes like this big thing. What's so interesting about this show, and it's really never been done, is that it shows him going from, that's why it's called Breaking Bad. It shows him going from what he believes is that he's lived a very righteous life where he's incredibly moral, and he by the end is as evil as they come. Like he is pure evil. Like he, continues to raise up the ranks. But what's fascinating about that show is that
I completely agree with what you're saying, and this is an excellent example. But as it sometimes happens when you throw in an aside in the middle, when you say it's really never been done, a lot of other things have done this.
Showing
a lot of them have done this.
Well,
even just off the top of my head, the anime Death Note.
No, I never watched Death Note.
Okay,
so
it is very famous. It's about a young man who is like the son of like a police chief.
But they show it from the evil side.
He's the son of a police chief, and a evil god drops a notebook that if you write in a person's name and a cause
I know
of death,
how that works.
They'll die.
Yeah.
And so when he starts off, he's like, "What the heck? I shouldn't even use this." But then he sees that someone's about to murder someone in front of him, and he's like, "I don't even know if I believe this is a real thing, but I guess I'll do it to
All right,
save
let me
this person's
rephrase
life."
that. And
he goes from that to like this cacklingly maniacal
Okay,
evil person.
let me
The point is,
rephrase-
there are a lot of shows
you're
that
right.
are like
There's
that.
a lot that are like, I was talking about Real World, where you actually got to see how he goes up the ranks, because it goes from him being like this local guy, and then he gets, it's really fascinating because it shows like, okay, he's this local guy, he's just making meth, and then suddenly the local, drug dealers notice him, so he has to deal with them, and then he ends up becoming like the kingpin for the local area. But then the cartels notice him, so he has to move up the ranks to, okay, now he has to deal with the cartels because they want a piece of this, and he has to deal with them. And then he gets to the suppliers of the cartel. So he keeps going up, and it shows step by step by step. Like as you get more powerful and as you go up the drug ladder ring of, it's almost like a video game. Like, he kept going up, he got more and more powerful, and he had to continuously betray and kill people because it's survival of the fittest. It's like, okay, there's only room for one person at this level, and it's either you or me. And every time using just his intelligence and not even brute force, he's able to overcome, and he continuously goes up the ranks, and he just gets more and more and more powerful. And as he gets more powerful, he keeps either working with or taking out other people in those ranks, which is pretty much what happens in most D&D and Pathfinder campaigns. If you think about it, you always start off pretty low level. You start moving up the ranks. Now, you're not killing people to get up to that, at least usually
you
not.
Might be if you're an evil campaign.
Might be. Depends on the campaign. But the point is that I can think of a lot of campaigns where you start off low and then you just keep getting up higher and higher and you're moving through the ranks. I just did Agents of Edgewatch. And at the beginning of Agents of Edgewatch, you start off as a nobody. And then throughout the campaign, that's why I thought it was so well done. It actually is really well done. Like, you go through, you continuously shift around going from department to department until eventually you get sent to like the special ops department. And then eventually by the end of the campaign, you're working with the president. You're like in the Secret Service. So you go from like a nobody to like literally protecting the president. So by the end of the campaign, and that was great. It was like, wow, you really progressed and you got more and more powerful and you end up moving through the ranks. That is a way you would do that. And then in Breaking Bad, it's exactly that, but it's from the bad guy point of view. And unlike the good guy point of view, the good guy point of view is that you might be moving up the ranks, but you do it through political manipulation and not necessarily killing people. But on the bad guy point of view, you do it through political manipulation and then killing people. So it's like subtle difference, but it's a pretty big difference. So that's why I'm saying it's like, it's very hard to do an evil campaign because you have to almost be, like you said, lawful evil, where you have to work together as a party. You can't screw around with each other because it's going to be very hard to keep a campaign together if you do that. Also, it goes to the werewolf problem, which is like, if you screw over someone in your game, they won't trust you. Okay, and that becomes a real problem when you're trying to play a game together. I mean, that can even just mess up your relationship with people. That's a real world problem, not even a game problem. So I just feel like it is really, really hard to portray evil unless there's very specific guidelines on how the evil is portrayed and the goals of the evil.
You kind of need to have a discussion with your whole group, including people who aren't the ones who are going to be playing the evil character, if it's not like everybody being evil, so that they understand. And because someone in chat was talking about how they wanted to play an evil mercenary who was in it for the money and was going to follow everybody else's lead. If they told the mercenary, don't murder people, then they would be, okay, you guys are the ones who are paying for this. But if they do nothing, then they were just going to do the most expedient evil way. And then the rest of the group was so passive that they wound up never reining them in like they expected to be. In this case, it was the evil player who wanted to get reined in, and they thought it would be an interesting story beat. So that was a case of they said that they solved it by just telling everybody that that's what they were doing. And then that helped solve the situation. So you're right. One of the reasons why evil PCs kill D&D campaigns is lack of communication, because you can have evil PCs who work. But if you just don't communicate and nobody knows what you're going to planning on doing, it might kill the entire campaign. Or if it's possible you're planning on doing something that was going to kill the campaign no matter what, and by discussing it with people, they can tell you, don't do that, Steve. Don't do that thing. It's going to kill the entire campaign. And then you'll tone it down to something that won't kill the campaign.
I mean, I have an example. So when I was playing first edition D&D and Seth was the GM, I was a player. Bob Marquis from my earlier Roll for Combat, he was a player, and Chris was a player. And Bob was playing a thief, and Bob, while Chris was sleeping, Bob stole some of his gear and some of his gold while he was sleeping. And he caught him. Bob got caught. He didn't apologize. Chris was angry. Chris challenged him to a duel to the death, and then they fought each other, and one of them killed the other. I forgot who even. It's like I actually remember this. That's how powerful this type of crap can be. And then his character was dead, and then we ended the campaign because I was like, wow, was that really worth it? And Bob's thing is like, hey, I'm evil. I'm playing my character, which might be true, but we're not in the real world. Like, it's like we're trying to play a campaign, and this campaign requires all of us working together. Think of it this way. It's like, okay, you need, let's just say 4 people. Okay, we need 4 people to play this game. Well, you just killed some, now we're down to 3. Well, now we can't play. It's like we literally can't play. And now no one trusts Bob, and maybe he makes another character up, but then it's always like a stink of like, and it just ended the campaign. And that's the real problem. It's like you just cannot have someone who is truly evil in a campaign. And now maybe your friends are different. Maybe you guys can do that. But with my friends,
it depends. It depends on who you're playing with, and it depends on your group. Sometimes it's not even the evil person that causes the problem. Or here, I'll give you an example from when I was playing in high school. This is with a group that are not the people I play with now, but by the way, this example
I just gave was from 30 years ago.
Yeah, fair. So I usually was always the GM, but in this time I was getting to play the game. I was a wizard. I was neutral good. In my party, theoretically, there were no evil characters. Okay, none of their sheets said evil. There was even a paladin. I think the paladin was probably chaotic neutral. He was basically like insane and talked to a sock puppet and did not do anything you expect a paladin to do, and the GM did not do kind of anything about it. But so I was the neutral good wizard, and basically the party was doing stuff that was like rampantly evil. To give one example, there was a place where there was famine and the poor people were dying, and some evil drug dealers had a whole lot of food because they were rich. So we were fighting the drug dealers anyway because we didn't like them. That's a good thing. My character liked that. When we beat them, we took control of one of the wagons with food. And I said, let's give it to the people who are poor. And other people, I don't know, maybe we should sell it. I was like, well, we could talk about that. Maybe we can. And the rogue said, the supposedly kind of neutral rogue said, I'm going to burn all the food in the wagon. I'm going to burn it down. Okay? So I was like, why? My character tried to convince him. He's like, no, you can't stop me. I'm just going to burn it down. And so I cast a enchantment spell on the rogue to stop him from burning down the wagon of food. But I was a neutral good character. I initiated the player versus player. At that point, that rogue, even though he was sketchy as heck and probably should have been chaotic evil, he never attacked the party. He actually hadn't stolen from the party, as far as I know. But he did want to like burn the food and cause everyone to die of famine. And so my good character became the one that did that. In fact, the party decided after we defeated the drug dealers, I was like, great, the drug dealers are gone. And everyone else was like, we're actually going to take over their distribution and continue to distribute this drug. And my character's like, but this drug is really heinous. It's magical and it kills people. They're like, we know, but look how much money they were making. And so like, I tried to actually leave the group, and the GM was like, well, a prophecy says the entire world will be destroyed if you leave. This is a high school game, guys. The GM was maybe not as skilled as they could have been in this scenario. So my character was put in charge of the money because all of the other characters didn't trust each other since they were actually evil, even though their sheet said that they weren't. And my character actually embezzled from this evil group and used it to charities and to try to stop the evil things that the party was doing. So I was actually the person who was the sort of like the mole. All the other evil people in the group actually worked together. They didn't really betray each other. They were horrible. But if my character had been as evil as them, actually, we probably would have had no conflict, right? I would have been, oh yeah, sure, burn the food. Even though we're not even going to get money for it, these people will all die. I created the conflict by not being evil. So this is my example to show that like it's not only evil characters that cause the conflict. Sometimes it's the clash of ideals.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's something people all have to try, though. I think you have to basically have one of these type of games, have an evil thing happen, and then you realize it's not, maybe it is for you, but most people it's just not that fun. And then you realize, wow, it's one of those things that sounds better on paper. And then when you actually do it and there's consequences, because now, like my guys, I mean, again, I've been playing with the same people forever. Like, these guys literally go out of their way. They're always helping each other out. They're sharing all their gold. Like these guys are, they're like as close as can be, and they always help each other. They're incredibly selfless. And I'm just thinking, like, it's come such a long way from them, like, killing each other over stealing stuff, It's like, they don't even consider it stealing. They just consider everything as everyone's, and they're always asking each other for help. I mean, they're just like, they couldn't even play evil characters if they wanted to. And also, they just have more fun. It's just a lot more fun when it's a group of people all working together and overcoming the obstacles. I don't even call it evil. It's just obstacles. So that's that's at least my group. Now there is something interesting. What about Shackle Skull? What's it called? Skull Shackle.
Skull and Shackles. Oh yeah,
Skull and Shackles.
That's an interesting one because
that's
you're
an interesting
pirates,
one.
but you're not just pretend pirates like in Jewel of the Indigo Isles. You're really robbing people.
Yeah, you're really robbing people.
You're really robbing people. Like, even at your best, where you're fighting against demon pirates who are much worse than you in some situations, there's just a lot of random encounters where they're just merchants.
Yep. And
you rob them.
Yeah.
And you can raid villages as one of the things you can do. You can do some pretty awful things. I actually played in that campaign, even though as I said in chat to people when I typed it out, I like playing heroic characters. And I don't usually like playing evil. So what I did there with that group, and everyone was on board, so it worked out, was that essentially my character, who was the captain, thought of piracy as like basically this game, and the goddess Besmara was giving her sea monsters and challenges and other things like that just to watch us struggle against them for the amusement. Almost like Besmara was the game master. It was Linda who was running the game. And Besmara would reward us when we succeeded by giving us treasures for amusing her. Because Besmara is the goddess of pirates in the setting of Pathfinder. And so this pirate was always more interested in like fighting sea monsters, finding treasures, more like the Jewel of the Indigo Isles pirates in some ways. But she would attack merchants who went into the pirate area because she considered that to be a challenge. That it's like, oh, you've chosen to go into the pirate area. Basically, this is a sport. This is a game now, and we're going to see who wins. And if I win, I'm going to spare all of your crew. In fact, we'll take you to whatever port is convenient to you if we happen to be passing by it. But your ship is mine now because I won. That was kind of her way of dealing with it because she romanticized piracy. That was still kind of an evil thing to do because you're taking someone's ship, but she was not a good character. She was like a neutral.
You see, I think pirates work very well because pirates, first of all, pirates have a very, very big romanticism about them. Okay, that's the first thing. Second of all, pirates have this very specific code, the pirate code, as they always say. They all work together. It's one of those
because they're on the same.
They're
boat,
all in the same team, and you betray one, you die. Like it's part of the code. Like
you're out in the sea on the same boat.
Right.
You can't be going against each other because if you're rocking the boat, it can cause the entire ship to sink. And so they need to have a cohesion on a pirate crew. And you can have things like that too, right? You could be part of like a assassin clan that has very strict rules or something like that.
Well, it works so well because pirates, you don't need to explain anything. It's so well known. It's like you're all pirates and you're on this crew and you all follow this captain. Got it. So we're all friends. We're all working together. We do evil stuff, but not to each other. Like you just know it because it's just part of our social, it's the zeitgeist. Like everyone just knows how pirates work as opposed to you might have to. But then if you say, okay, you all are, you're all drug kingpins. It's like, well, in culture, those guys usually end up killing each other, so that's not such a great thing, so it really comes down to what social constructs work in the world of evil that you don't end up killing each other. Star Wars you can't use because they're always killing. Everyone's always killing each other. That's the thing. It's like there's so many of the examples. Like piracy
and Han shot Greedo first.
Yeah. Well, my point is like pirates are probably the only thing. I can't even think of another one really. Where it's like you are evil but you're all maybe not even gangs, because gangs can kill it. You know, it's like I think pirates is it. Pirates is probably the only one I can think of, which is why pirates seem to work pretty well in this playing evil and doing evil things, but you're still all for one for all, which is why I think pirates do work. But I don't think anything else really works. At least
there are other things that could work, evil knightly orders, or like sort of like
I know, but everyone can have a different opinion on how that works, though, because it's not built into our culture. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
you mean because of the fact everyone sort of has an image in their head of pirates, but for evil knightly orders, they don't necessarily.
No.
What about role playing the Empire in Star Wars? Just like kind of try to play the characters, the bad guys from like Andor or something like that.
They all kill each other. They all have
the bad guys from Andor. Some of them are like more banal.
Some of them are, yes.
Empire people.
So,
right?
by the way, not okay. It's been a while since I brought up Andor, but I'm going to bring up Andor. Andor is a perfect example, by the way, and it's one of the very early episodes. It's actually in the middle where it's Andor. And they just did this huge heist. They stole all this gold. They did an amazing heist. Several other people died. And then it gets to the end where it's just Andor, one other guy, and like this woman. It's just three of them. And they started with a lot more than that, but all that left is like three. And when the woman is away,
the other guy's like, hey, we should just kill her and split the money.
Right. He goes, yeah, you saw that part. He goes, yeah, we should just kill her and split this. What do you think? And without missing a beat, Andor takes out a pistol and kills him that fast. And I was like, wow, because that is how loyal Andor was to realizing, like, no, I am loyal, because they were doing it for a purpose, which is take down the Empire. And this guy was, quote, being evil, that's why Andor is so fucking good. It's like, it shows the subtleties.
Even at that time, he wasn't loyal to the rebellion, because he left them after that too. But he didn't want a traitor, because he also, it didn't explain himself, but I think he also thought someone like that might snitch on him. Or might try to get all the money for himself. It was just someone you can't trust. For the same reason that a pirate, if they have someone they can't trust, they make them walk the plank, because they're on the same ship. There could be a mutiny. There could be all sorts of issues. Andor,
literally, I mean, you know, talking about, like, he kills him like before he even finishes his sentence. It wasn't even like, oh, convince me. It's just like, holy crap. Like, wow, that was fast. Like, that's how fast he decided his fate. Like, it's like, yeah, you're not trustworthy. You're dead. And that was it. And that also shows why Andor was like kind of a good judge of character, because you don't fool around with them. Like, you're either loyal or you're not, and if you're not loyal, you die. And
also, the good guys in that show were more like evil than usual for Star Wars, which made it interesting. And the bad guys were some of them were more realistic, banal, like portrayals of evil, as opposed to like the out of control, like more like Hogan's Heroes, stereotypical Emperor and Darth Vader, who are just like
that show,
going around choking people or shooting lightning.
Well, did you see the second season of Andor?
I stopped at some point because I was just like not as interested.
The second season it's more of a, you got to be in the mood, because
I think I watched the first season.
The first season is fantastic. The second season is good. You should give it another try. But the second season is fascinating because it shows as the rebellion continues to grow, and it shows the moral, not the moral. It shows the the weight of their actions on both the good and the evil. Like, you know, like the good side, the rebels, they have to do seriously terrible things to get their point across. And they're struggling with it. Like, you see them, they struggle, but they realize it's for the greater good. And then on the evil side, they are doing it, but for different purposes. Theirs are actually more selfish, that they want personal power, or they hate someone.
Some of them want order, and they think that the order for everything is more important than and that allows them to turn a blind eye to the evil the Empire is doing.
Right, exactly. And that's what season two, if you look at it, problem is season one is so different than season two. If you watch season two with knowing that this shows how the Empire becomes more systematically evil, and how the rebellion literally grows so big that it's beyond any one person. Because in season 1, that was the rebellion was 3 people. And that was it. It was literally 3 people, or it was like that was the whole rebellion.
I mean, it was bigger than that, but the core of it was probably about 5 to 10 people, and you knew the names of them. And after the Empire stopped one of them, it was like that's a whole section that's gone.
Right, but you know that scene when they robbed the bank, that's the whole them, and then they were one cell. They were one cell, but they were one of the
were one cell, cells. But they were a significant percentage of the manpower that they
by
had
the end
until they inspired people.
By the end of Andor, it is so big, which is what it is, that no, they can't control it. Like they're just like it has its own life, and no one is bigger than the rebellion. Not even the people who started it. Not even they are bigger than it, and that's what's fascinating to show. Again, it's a very different show when you get to that. But there's a lot of times where people on the good side have to either give up their friends because they made bad choices and they're a security risk, or their loved ones died, like they fall in love with someone in the rebellion, and then they die. And then they keep fighting, even though they realize, this is horrible, but they keep going because the rebellion's more important than even their own personal feelings. You got to I think if you watch it, Mark, and adjust your thinking, I think you'll enjoy it a lot more. Because that's what happened to me, because I loved season 1 so much, and I was so excited for season 2. It was so different that I was like, this is not what I expected. But then I thought about it. I'm like, okay, I get what they're getting at, and I can see it's really interesting.
No, I don't dislike that part of it. I just kind of just like it was enough Andor for me at the time, because I watched a lot of it, and then I never came back to it.
Yeah,
I might someday.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
So there's an interesting chat though that I want to ask you about, where Rising Star PF2E points out that the difference between some of those examples you've given, like Andor, where it's a long series, a mini series, but still you get how many hours with Andor over the course of both of the 2 seasons? A lot of hours. Versus your tabletop RPG campaign is that Andor has a long time to try to give you these nuances about things, where some other, like if it's just a TV show or if it's just a regular movie that's 1 to 2 or 3 hours at most, or it's a TTRPG where your first session, if you didn't discuss things in advance, it's just however many hours that is, and it could implode because you don't have time to deliver this nuance at first.
I don't know. It depends on your TTRPG campaign, and it depends on your group, because our groups, we run 6-year campaigns. Okay, I mean, these are incredibly complex
won't make it
stories.
to that far if you haven't at least set the expectations enough to make sure it doesn't implode by the time that it pays off in year 3.
Yeah, well, I don't have year 3, so I'll tell you, because I'm running Jewel the Indigo Isle, and let me tell you something, Mark. Whoever wrote that goddamn book, adventure, holy crap, is that thing good? I wonder who that was. It is so good.
Oh wow, it must have been Patrick Reaney, who was also the developer behind Agents of Edgewatch, who wrote book 1, the one that you're playing right now.
It is good though. But my point is, and it is a good dungeon. But
it was all outlined and designed by you.
I know. I'm kidding. But the point is like, we did exactly what I did, the Brandon Sanderson thing, where you just have every chapter resolves. So you are moving that story forward fast. Like the story goes forward very fast. There's not a lot of downtime. And there is so much building on top of another, and it's always escalating, that it's taking a life of its own, which is exactly what I wanted. Like, I don't have to push them at all. Like, I don't have to push them at all. They're just moving forward because they just want to see what's happening next. And that, I think, will do what you're saying. It's like, you don't have time to build up these worlds. I think if that's an issue in your game, then you're going too slow. Like, you got to do the Brandon Sanderson. That's what I call it, the Brandon Sanderson method. Brandon Sanderson, he does not fool around, man. He just moves things along fast. That is how you have to do it. You just have to keep going.
The plot progresses, but if you move too quickly, you might not be able to deliver the nuance until the situation is gone.
You're 100% right, but I feel most go way too slow. Like they feel
you're right. You're also
too slow.
You're very right about that. That a lot of things are a slow burn, and it can cause an issue.
Especially if you're only playing once. That's the thing. you are playing once every week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and you gotta have very quick. It's like a TV show. Think about a TV show. A TV show, and it's hard to do on a consistent basis, would have a beginning, middle, and end, week to week to week. Okay. I'm not talking about episodic TV, which is now like you have one long show. We're talking about the old traditional weekly show where it's 1 week after another. And you can have a larger overall story, but otherwise the whole show had to be contained within one 48-minute or 43-minute episode, like Star Trek. There's a perfect example.
The other way TV shows are like D&D and Pathfinder campaigns is that they can both be canceled before they get to the end, and you might not get the payoff. Here's a good example. I've said before, I like to play characters that are not evil. Even if they're neutral, they tend to do heroic things a decent amount of the time. I decided to try to find an evil character I would have fun playing as like an exercise. And so I created this evil character whose basic goal was that as an adherent, a chaotic evil, mind you, as an adherent of chaotic evil, and it was in a campaign with the Blood War, if you remember, where the Abyss and Hell are fighting each other and you want to have more demons. So this character wanted there to be as many demons as possible. The way to do this is not to kill everyone. If you kill a lawful evil person or whatever, there's another devil. If you kill a good person, they'll become an angel or whatever. It was, in fact, to convince other people to become evil. And only then is it okay if they die. You want to keep people alive. So it was actually a healing cleric who kept people alive and then was very friendly and nice to everyone in the party and just constantly suggested things that would actually turn out to be evil, but in a way that made it sound like it was not evil. Just a helpful suggestion. Oh, yeah, wouldn't it be easier if we did this? And the goal was to see if the character could tempt people into doing things that were more evil and become more evil. However, that campaign, the reason I brought that up with the cancellation, that campaign died before anything came of it. So essentially, as far as the people in that campaign were concerned, it was just a good, aligned, and helpful cleric because there was no payoff from it, right? So you couldn't even see that the character was evil because they were hiding themselves and we didn't get to the end game of it.
Someone mentioned that you just cannot play chaotic evil. And the answer is no, you cannot. It is
my chaotic evil character was not disruptive.
Well, let me rephrase this. So chaotic evil, the best example of chaotic evil that I can think of, and that is the Joker in the movies.
Joker is a very good example.
That Joker is chaotic evil. And he literally is that's also true. Chaotic evil characters are scary as hell because they are pure evil and they will just, they do not care. They do not care about consequences. And they are terrifying if portrayed correctly. There's a lot, actually, I mean, I'm sure I'm trying to think of a lot. There's a lot in movies, in No Country for Old Men. I forgot the guy with the air rifle that kills people. He's chaotic evil. There's a lot of chaotic, evil characters in movies and literature that are scary the hell. It's just scary as hell because you cannot, even if you're on their side, they might kill you. Doesn't matter. They have no control. I always play though. I always play neutral chaotic in all my games.
Chaotic neutral, the random person who you're a wild card, Stephen. You just are.
I am.
You're that kind of Joker, not like Batman Joker, but like the Joker in a deck of cards.
I am. I always play it though, but I do think I play pretty well though because we're playing a game right now, and we're playing a game. And it's with 3 other guys. It's the D&D game I'm playing. And we're in a thing. And everyone's sitting there looking at the door. And they're like, well, I do this. I do that. I do this. I do. I'm like, oh, my God. I kicked down the door. I was like, stop. You guys, why are you so careful? And I'm just literally running through the dungeon. I was like, you guys, like, come on. Let's go. Let's go. Let's move. But it's just, but it's also a game. You're supposed to have fun. It's like, I feel like when you sit there, like looking at things and carefully, like it's like spending 3 hours going to the supermarket or going to, doing buying in your game. Okay. It's like, come on. All right. Let's move things along. Let's go. And, I don't think I start off chaotic neutral. I think it ends up just being chaotic neutral because I need things to move along. I can't sit there just like I lose patience. And but you also need one of those characters. You always need at least one in a party because otherwise you get analysis paralysis and nothing gets done. So you need someone who will also take the risks and take one. Oh, I get hit all the time. That's the thing. I'll go through the door and then get mowed down. But that's fine. I accept those consequences. I accept that if I'm the first one through the door, I might get hit and be in the middle of combat. So
someone asked in chat, if you were going to replace either of the two of us, we're going to replace alignment with something, what would you select? And I'm going to assume that means you can't just say alignment's gone, like Pathfinder 2 did in the remaster, but you're going to replace it with some other element that will try to do some of the same things alignment did, but better. Here's my pitch, which I actually pitched for Pathfinder 2 and got some pretty high stakeholders to accept it. But eventually alignment was kept because it was alignment and we didn't want to throw out too many sacred cows in the playtest, right? Is basically like something you can call it loyalties, where you can have a loyalty to the cause of good, but it could also be your family. It could also be your country or your queen, and you put them in order. In an ordered list, 1, 2, 3. Try to have at least 3. Where in general, the one that's number 1 is more important to you than number 2 and number 3, but you still are going to be loyal to number 3 unless it conflicts with 1 or 2. And try to have characters have multiple because that makes it a deeper and more interesting character than just like, yes, I am only loyal to the queen, and that's it. So I think that would be a cool replacement because you can still do alignment-ish if you're like, well, this character is really only loyal to good. That's their top loyalty or loyal to evil. But you can also have an evil character who isn't loyal to evil. They're not like being like, yes, I'm working hard to push evil in the universe. They just are only loyal to themselves or money but maybe they have a loved one who they actually do care about, but not as much as themselves.
All right, so very simple. I would bring back the original alignment chart. The original alignment chart is one of the greatest things ever invented by mankind. Okay, and that's how.
Why do you like the original alignment chart that much?
First of all, it is completely transcended Dungeons and Dragons because you see memes all over the place. I knew it transcended when my daughter called me up and asked me because she had to do an alignment chart in one of her college courses. And I was like, really? It's like, that is everywhere, that alignment chart. It is so...
Wait a minute. When you say an original alignment chart now, you're saying not an original alignment chart then. You mean the one with 9 alignments?
Yes, the 9 alignment chart.
It's not the original alignment chart, Stephen. The original alignment chart is lawful, neutral, and chaotic. Those are the only alignments in the original one.
The original one in my mind, which is the 9. Okay, we'll do the 9.
That's not the original, Stephen.
Okay, well, if you want to go back, you can keep going back.
Derik
okay, you want to look at the original? Maybe it's from Little Wars from H.G. Wells. Was there an alignment chart in that? If you want to keep going back,
Stephen, the original Dungeons and Dragons alignment chart only had chaotic, neutral, and lawful. Fine. Now you're talking about the one
the 9. Fine. When I meant 9. Original, okay. I meant the original 9. The original 9 alignment chart.
Okay, I now understand what you were saying much more when you were saying that the original one was easy to understand. I do not think lawful, chahaotic, and neutral was not easy
that's not enough. The original 9 has survived. That is everywhere. It's in memes. It's in culture. I've had both my kids had to do it in college courses now. I'm like, damn, this thing really holds the test of time. Now, here's the thing.
It was actually a national survey. Did you know that, Stephen? Where it was like YouGov or something. One of the big ones.
It's
put out a survey where they determined the alignment of Americans according to what they thought. Now, since lawful and chaotic were too confusing, they had to ask different questions. But for good and evil, they just asked it. And then they asked them a bunch of other questions too. And they found out what were the most common answers that they would give to other questions. Based upon what alignment they said. I can tell you the people who self-identified as lawful good as a whole were pretty scary people.
Yeah, well, of course. I'll get to that in a second. It's actually fascinating. I don't think it's good for PCs, but for NPCs and monsters, it's fantastic because then it shows how you can play them as a GM and how they work in the story, especially if they're long-term goals. It's a very excellent way to get a huge quick start guide or a shortcut of exactly how this character should behave. Because you look at it, and you go, oh, lawful evil. Okay, I know how this character behaves. Oh, neutral. Got it. Like, that's it. That's all. Like, you get so much out of that chart. There's nothing better. And in fact, when they got rid of that in Pathfinder, I was like, you guys get rid of it. I'm keeping it. I don't care. I'm like, that chart that was the biggest mistake they ever made. Like, never get that chart is fantastic.
I mean, Steven, they had to get rid of it because of the remaster.
They
had to get rid of it.
They went
did.
To quote Eric Mona,
all
they
the
went
things
overboard.
that D&D can protect, like that chart is and the very specific way of combining it is probably getting closer.
Nope, that has become public domain. That is easily.
You think?
Yes. Easily. If they went to law, they would be able to.
Okay, you might be right because you know more and you have Alan.
That is everywhere.
If I was any company, I would be very frightened of using the exact boilerplate way of D&D doing
First
it with
of all,
the chart.
no, there's a way to protect.
Chaotic good.
Well, you could adjust the naming, so you don't call it chaotic. You call it something else. You change the names, so it's not lawful. And it's not chaotic, and it's not neutral. You change those names.
You could make an alternative version of it.
Well,
for sure.
then you do that.
Well, they did. They changed to holy and unholy.
Well, exactly.
For example.
So you change it, but you keep the chart.
That's part of what they did.
Yeah. No, that has become so. If first of all, so the law is, if something becomes so popular in like common culture, you basically lose it. Okay, that's the first problem. The second thing is if you don't defend it. So what this is, Paizo lost that one a long time ago. When it started to cut into popular culture and started to use it, they had to start suing people. They have to do what Nintendo does, basically.
Oh, you mean D&D lost it because of that?
Yeah, they lost it because they didn't enforce it, and it is long gone. Like, that is long gone for them to say that, oh, it's ours, and you can't recreate it. Bullshit. That's like, you will lose that lawsuit in 10 seconds. Because it's like, dude, that chart, that ship has sailed. You had to have been enforcing that thing 30 years ago. Okay, there's no way. And that's really what it all comes down to. Like, if it comes down to, if you have an idea and the idea becomes so popular, you have two choices. You have three. Okay, the first choice is you do nothing, and then you will lose it. I mean, it just goes into public domain. It's like it's just becomes too popular. The second thing is that you sue people and say it's mine, and you can't use it. Or the third thing, which is the most popular one, is that you say, you know what, you can use it, but you got to pay us a fee. You have to pay us a license fee, and then you could use it in your product.
So Mad Rally points out that it is now in Creative Commons. That's true, but at the time that all this was happening, it was not true. Okay, there's an OGL crisis. No, it was not in the Creative Commons at the time when the remaster was already
but they could have. They didn't have to.
Before D&D gave in.
No, that's not true.
It wasn't all completely printed, but they had to make some of these decisions and do the design because they were desperate when the OGL crisis started.
Fine, but they should have never gotten rid of it. I mean, I understand.
Some people love alignment. Some people hate it. You know what? Jess really agrees with you, Steven. She loves alignment. I understand why some people don't like it. I like it in some ways. I like other things in some ways too. Mm-hmm. See, you would have been mad if I convinced people to change it to loyalties, even though you could keep chaos, good, law, and evil in it.
Well, I still use.
Here's my favorite for the YouGov poll about people's alignment. So it's relationships. So the lawful good people, or the ones who identified themselves as lawful good, said for relationships, family over everything. That was one of their less scary responses. Neutral good said, when it comes to friends, I prefer quality over quantity. Chaotic good says, when I have an opinion about someone, I tell them to their face. Lawful neutral said, I wish my in-laws would stay out of my business. True neutral said, there's no point in getting married. Over half of marriages end in divorce anyway. And chaotic neutral said, marriage is an outdated institution. They don't have enough data on evil because too few Americans self-identified as evil.
No one identifies as evil.
Well, no, some people did. They were more likely to be younger.
Very few. That's the thing.
Yes.
No one, to quote The Who, no one ever considers themselves the bad man.
The ones who were identified themselves as neutral or evil were more likely to be younger, and the ones who identified as chaotic were more likely to be men.
There you go. That's true. Probably. I don't know. I love the alignment system. I think it is, again, anything that breaks free of D&D, especially something like that, and becomes part of like the overall culture, usually means that it hit a nerve in such a way that everyone could relate and understand it very quickly. The best example of lawful good going off the rails was the Order of the Stick, if you remember that. So in the Order of the Stick, they had a lawful good paladin who ended up being so lawful that they ended up by the end being super evil. Like they were so rigid.
Yeah, Miko caused so many problems.
Yeah.
Whereas there were also a lot of examples of lawful good paladins who did not causing any problems and who were just doing lawful good well.
Yeah.
Whereas Belkar is an example of a chaotic evil person who's in an adventuring party who eventually realizes that in order to achieve his chaotic evil goals, he needs to be less of a complete murder hobo who's always not getting along with people. And so it's almost like a situation where you talk to your players and get the chaotic evil person to fit with the party, because that kind of happens. He just kind of talks to like a ghost of some guy who he actually liked because that guy was always pulling one over on people, and then learns sort of how to be the chaotic evil person he wants to be while still like fitting with his adventuring party.
But there's an example of like lawful good, like anything lawful you got to be careful with, because lawful you can really, I feel lawful is actually the trickiest one, because if you can twist lawful to anything you want, because it's based off the law, and if the law is a bad law, I mean that's real life. I mean, look at prohibition as an example. Okay, it's like prohibition caused more trouble than it was worth, and so much so that it was removed. Like prohibition, the idea was in theory a good idea, because things were,
but the law just did not work.
It did not work. It did not work. It did not work.
Right. And so you have to think about like how the different alignments deal with laws when there's just a bad law that's on the books. Right. And that's why personally I think that there are people out there who are like lawful good is like the most good of all of the goods. And I was like, no, it isn't. In 4th edition D&D, it almost was. It's like, this is the extra good or good. It's like, no, it isn't. Neutral good is the one that's pure good. It's the one that isn't going to care if there's a bad law. Neutral good won't follow it, but they're not going to ignore the laws that are actually helping society, like chaotic good might. Just because they're being chaotic, they'll usually follow things, except for when they have to make compromises to do the most good. Whereas lawful good might actually follow the bad law or even support it. They might feel good about it, but they might if they feel that they have to maintain order.
Yeah, now people are interesting. They're going through what the definitions are. That's why I'm chaotic neutral, because I'm actually more chaotic good. Let me rephrase that. I'm chaotic good, chaotic neutral. I'm more good than neutral, but I'm definitely chaotic.
You do tell people things to their face, which chaotic good said that they...
Oh, really?
It was one of the things that they said about relationships.
Yeah. All right. Well, I don't know. I'm not talking about my life. I'm talking about my characters. But because I'm not that chaotic. Characters. In real life, I'm much more normal, but my characters, I go crazy. But it's a game, man. That's the other thing. It's like, it's in the end, it's a game. In the end, you're trying to have fun and you have challenges you're trying to overcome through either combat or social, and you're trying to tell a story. And that's the other aspect, is that you have to look at it, the medium itself. Like Breaking Bad is so much fun because it's a story. It's not real. And so you're able to watch Breaking Bad and enjoy it because you're like, this doesn't exist. In fact, one of the fascinating things about Breaking Bad is that by the end, and you didn't watch it to the end, he starts getting caught up with neo-Nazis. And then he sees like, then it's like, okay, now things are getting evil to levels of evil. Even like, he thought he like Heisenberg was evil and he did a lot of evil things to get his goals and obviously hurt a lot of people, but it was sort of indirect. But then when he's dealing with like neo-Nazis, even he's like reconsidering things like, oh my God, like, like maybe I've gone too far. And then it gets pretty fascinating and kind of scary, because it's almost like up to that point, almost everything in Breaking Bad was lawful evil, because there was very mechanical, like how the cartels worked. Very lawful. Like they had very specific rules. And if you didn't follow the rules, you got killed. And the rules were golden. And later when they even work with the suppliers, again, lawful. Everything's lawful. Lawful evil, lawful evil. And that's kind of the whole show. But then by the end, he starts getting involved with chaotic evil, which was the neo-Nazis. And then he realizes, oh my God, like anyone who's chaotic evil, they're scary because they just do not care. And there's no law, there's no order. There's no...
Even in the parts that I saw, there was a guy who was kind of chaotic evil, who was like one of the dealers who like brought him in and was just like
Tuco?
Using the drugs themselves, and he was kind of like off kilter and very unpredictable. And you could tell because of the fact that Walter, the main character, is himself a very he's a very lawful, meticulous guy.
Right.
And you could tell that this guy being chaotic and kind of wild really clashed with him and unsettled him. It put Walter on tilt to be with this guy who was very chaotic. So I'm not surprised that when he had to deal with even more chaotic organizations that it got...
Well, that's
when it clashed with him.
Yeah. Well, and that's also Jesse. He was actually, I would say he was true neutral because I don't think he was neutral evil because he wasn't actually evil in that show. He did evil things, but he was more true neutral. Like breaking what's fascinating is that you literally watch Walter go from lawful good to lawful neutral to lawful evil. You see him go down and how quickly he, but how he goes through that. But then when he tries to get shifted from lawful evil to neutral evil to chaotic evil, he can't do it. He's like, no, like this is, even he had limits. It's very good show. It's very fascinating to see how that goes through that. I mean, if anyone has any other shows that really explore that to that level, I'm trying to think. I mean, there's shows that try, but they never really did a good job. That's the thing.
I can't remember what it is, but I remember my dad was talking about some show that he thought was similar because it was, again, a gradual, corruption of this. What?
There is one. I forgot. Better Call Saul is actually...
I mean, that's just a spin-off of Breaking Bad.
It's vastly superior.
But it's not completely different in that it is connected to the same show.
It is, but it is I'll tell you how it's different is that he starts off, he is not lawful evil. Saul is true neutral. Like he is actually true neutral and he stays true neutral. And I would even say he doesn't even become neutral evil. He is true neutral, but he is always doing whatever he can to get ahead. And he's always bending his politics and he's always bending things, but because he's trying to get ahead. He's trying to get ahead and he'll do whatever he can to get ahead. But he actually tries to not hurt people. And every time he does that, he ends up hurting people without realizing it. And it's fascinating. And by the end of the show, that's another one, by the way, the bad guy in that one, holy shit, that guy, true evil. And I remember his name. Oh, what was his name?
I do not know.
I know. It's one of the best bad guys in TV history because the actor was so good at portraying him. Walking Dead. That's fascinating too, because Rick does go, someone says Walking Dead, Rick goes through basically every alignment. That's the thing. Walking Dead, the book, is way more fascinating than the show. The show really went off the rails. But the book, that is talk about a hard book to read, because that is exactly right, is that Rick starts off as a cop in law enforcement and then is put into a world of utter chaos and destruction and death, and has to continuously change his morals to survive in it. And he's trying to keep his morals, but he can't. And it just chips away at him. And, that's another one that's pretty fascinating. Yeah, I mean, these are the things that really, I think, make these interesting. But that's why I say...
I'm finding some examples online of people who said that they were trying to look for examples of characters like that. And I mean, almost like Macbeth. It's not very long, but Macbeth kind of is is an older example of that. There were mentions of Death Note, obviously, Better Call Saul, Ozark.
I never saw Ozark.
I've not seen it. The Shield. The Shield was not a good person. Even at the beginning, was a corrupt cop, but then became really, really horrible. Supposedly, I haven't seen like any of these. I'm just reading it from a list. There is.
Well, I've seen a lot. Let's see.
There's The Godfather.
I was actually going to bring up The Godfather. The Godfather is a good example, but I would say The Sopranos does a better job only because, I mean, The Godfather is good, but first of all, The Godfather movie is very different than the book. That's the first thing. The second thing is that The Godfather is a movie, and so it's very shortened and very Cliff Note-y compared to, say, Sopranos, which really does a much better job of exploring that.
What about Crime and Punishment?
I never saw or read that. The end of Breaking. So someone said Falling Down. That's a fascinating one. Falling Down is a character study, and that is basically a fascinating movie. Is that it's a guy? It's more of a he hits his breaking point. Is that it's in L.A. It's hot. He's like in a suit. He's trying to get somewhere. It's like a traffic jam, and then he just loses his shit and starts like. He just pulls out guns and it just gets one bad thing after another, just like one bad decision after another. And then literally by the end, he's like, am I the bad guy? And he says that because it's like, I'm just trying to survive, man. It's like, he wasn't trying to be evil. He just broke, which is like Falling Down versus Breaking Bad. Same principle. Falling Down is a fascinating movie if you've never seen it. I've not seen that movie in like 10 years, but some people like the show better than the book, and I read all the Walking Dead. I will tell you, the problem with the book is it's unsettling. It's actually really, really hard to read. I mean, there are some parts of that book that I just have to stop because it is so disgusting. It is just like, ugh. There's a lot in that book, and I realize that's the point. But it is like, oof, it is a hard read, that book. Oh, yeah, Falling Down, the guy was laid off. Again, I haven't seen it in like 10 years. I mean, I've seen that in a long, long time. And what's just so fascinating about Walking Dead, it's a book in black and white. But it's so well done. And it's just it's so brutal, man, that book. Oh, it's so brutal. And he's very good with panel design. His panel designs are fantastic because he will often have like panels setting up to something. You turn the page and they'll have like a 2-page spread of something absolutely revolting. And you'd be like, oh, you're like, okay, you got me. The last season of Game of Thrones. You see, Game of Thrones could have done it. I actually just rewatched all of Game of Thrones. And let me tell you, if you watch Game of Thrones in one sitting, or just a few sittings, because I watched it all. It was on TV. I was just watching it. It's not as bad as it was when it came out because so many people had so much built into it. And it was like week after week. And I think it was just, when you watch it, it's like, okay, it's rushed. It's not as good. The characters obviously didn't have time to develop to turn into the pure evil that they just ran out of time. I mean, that's really it came down to is that they expected, I won't get into the whole rant. The whole rant is that they expected to get 10 seasons out of it. They only had the people signed for 6 seasons. It became a huge hit. They offered these guys endless money for 10 seasons. They said no. They gave them endless money for 9 seasons. They said no. They gave them endless money for 8 seasons, and they said no. And then they gave them endless money for 7 seasons, and they said no. It's actually only 6 seasons because they cut the last season in 2. It was actually, they only had 6-season contracts. I can get into all the math behind it, but they just didn't want to do it. And it didn't matter how much money. It did not. And so the problem is that they got to the halfway point in season 4 and they just needed 9 seasons and they just
Steven, don't worry. The reason that I don't watch Game of Thrones series is not based on how many seasons they have.
Yeah.
It's based on, I read the book Game of Thrones, and the characters that I was interested in all died.
Yeah.
And so at that point, I just didn't care. I was like, let the winter come or whatever.
Yeah.
I guess. And other people told me, shouldn't you keep watching to see if the characters you hate get their comments? I don't mind. Whatever, they can, or they don't have to if they don't want to. But
we have some super chats.
Let them go. So we got some super chats. Glade Raven said, players have a tendency to play evil as cartoonishly sociopathic, which is why I banned it at my table. I encourage the amoral crackpots, though.
There you go.
Yeah. So if you're gonna have cartoonish sociopathy as your evil, that is always going to be disruptive, right?
Yeah.
That's why it matters. Like, there's a wide range of characters within each alignment. Like, even the Joker, he is very chaotic evil, but not all. Just because the Joker is chaotic evil doesn't mean all chaotic evil characters are the Joker. Just like all squares are rectangles, not all rectangles are squares. Because the Joker is both chaotic evil, but he's also he's very committed to chaotic evil. Some people are chaotic evil not because out of a commitment to spreading chaos and evil, but just because they're kind of erratic and they are selfish assholes.
Well,
but they may not be evil by that as much as the Joker, and they might not be as chaotic as much as the Joker, but they're still chaotic evil.
No, he's the old. Hey, some people just want to see the world burn, and and when you see him in the movies, and he literally sets the money on fire, and he does not care. He does not care. I was like, wow. He was like, yeah, this guy. And that's really what chaotic evil or chaotic can be seen as. Is that
I agree that setting the money on fire is chaotic evil, Stephen. That's why I still think that the person who set the food on fire in the campaign I played in high school was chaotic evil, not chaotic neutral.
Right?
Because if he was chaotic neutral, why wouldn't he keep the food?
Oh no, chaotic evil setting is destroying the food. That's not neutral.
Yeah, I said, how is this character not evil, and how is the paladin okay with this?
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, they shouldn't. The best representation of evil in TTRPG of all time was the picture of the PF1 anti-paladin kicking a piglet.
Yes. Do you remember that picture, Stephen?
Yes. Do you know the name of the anti-paladin?
The name of the PF1 anti-paladin. Now, that's the only iconic that doesn't have an official name, but as official as it gets name is Steven.
Yes.
With a PH.
Yes, I know.
Even with the PH, because of the fact that Stephen Radney McFarlane created that anti-paladin.
That's
and when
right.
asked, he was like, there's not an iconic name for it like Wayne Reynolds, but I say the name is Steven.
That's right. So the anti-paladin is Steven with the PH.
Yes, that is the as official as it gets name for that pig kicking anti-paladin.
You know why? Because I have Stephen Randy McFarlane's business card. Remember, you put a picture of each of the iconics, and on his
he
iconic,
picked that one as his picture.
The anti-paladin. I had his card. I have his card here somewhere, and he's like,
I took the unfettered Eidolon as my picture because of the fact Rogue Eidolon was my handle.
There you go.
And so I figured that's as rogue of an Eidolon as you can find.
That's right.
In a picture.
So that's how I knew that, because he and I had that conversation. I was like, why do you have a anti-paladin on? He goes, oh well, because that's who I am. That's me.
Speaking of evil disrupting campaigns and moral dilemmas, that one of my favorites with the anti-paladin is a piece of art I ordered, which may have been the straw that broke the camel's back of the art team telling people stop ordering so much within a single piece, because it was not supposed to be a half pager. But when I had the paladin, it was in the Unchained. The paladin's being like, no, in front of a signpost where one direction says burning orphanage and the other one says anti-paladin's castle. And then the anti-paladin's like, where the anti-paladin had set up a dilemma to force the paladin to go save the burning orphans so that she can't get to his castle. So that brings
up an interesting thing when you say art order. So this is coming up with Deathbringer right now, because the art, so now I'm starting to do action scenes of Deathbringer. And I don't have any kicking piglets or stuff, because Deathbringer and the world of Deathbringer, they're not evil. That's the thing. It's brutal. There's a difference.
It's a harsh and brutal world where most opponents are humans, and a lot of people are corrupted because magic is not a good thing.
Right.
It's something that's not supposed to be here.
But they're not
And
evil.
so they might not be evil because it might not be their fault that they are this way. They might have been twisted into it by the power that they gained in Deathbringer.
So in Deathbringer, a lot of the art is actually pretty heroic. Like they're mostly fighting demons, skeletons, rat people, worms.
Oh, you're also
like
talking about the PCs too. Yeah, the PCs in Deathbringer, they're the ones when you've decided to play Deathbringer, you almost have a social contract that you've decided that in this awful, brutal world where you can roll randomly when you level up and find out that one of your closest friends betrayed you and you gained one wisdom. In this world, you've decided you're going to be one of the few people who's going to struggle against that.
Right. You actually
you're not one of the oppressors who are causing the horrible things, at least not yet.
Yes.
Though you might become that way based on the corruption of magic or other things. But that is a very much a theme of Deathbringer is you've seen how hopeless it is. You know this is going to end with your corpse somewhere undignified, but you've chosen to fight anyway. And does that make you more of a hero than the person who's like, aha, I know I'm going to win by the odds. I'm just going to fight for some fun. Yeah. I think it makes you more of a hero if you've struggled against the impossible odds.
Yeah, Derik read the rules, and he liked them. He actually said something about how he felt that the rules are that you're like a true hero. Like it's extremely heroic, and you are this larger than life hero that is going up against everything bad in this world. And I was like, yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And he's like, wow, that's pretty cool. That's actually a pretty cool overview. I was like, yeah, it's,
and nothing is on your side.
Yeah.
Not even like your power growing and leveling up and gaining things. It's not actually on your side.
Yeah.
Because the power that is in common to Deathbringer's setting corrupts inherently.
Yeah. Because I think people think it's like, oh, it's, a brutal, everyone's evil and you're like evil. I'm like, no, it is as heroic. It is Conan. Like you're a true hero in a chaotic, brutal world that everything's against you and you're trying to fight it all. And it's like very heroic. It's actually a very interesting take. And that's why I think it works pretty well.
But when you're on the brink, it's one thing that's interesting in tabletop RPGs. You rarely get to see it. We had to do special play testing for it in Pathfinder 2 and people got mad. But when you're on the brink and you can die at any minute and for any wrong decision, it gets really interesting. What do you try to do? What risks do you try to take when you know they're actually very risky? What is worth dying for? Those are all questions you can ask in an RPG system that's likely to kill you. Whereas in one where you're likely to survive anyway, it's just there's less emotion behind those decisions that you make.
No, it's pretty interesting. Only because I don't know if you can hear my dog. My dog's going crazy out there. I don't know what's outside. It must be something.
I think that your dog is being canceled. Are the lawn mowers that are right outside of me being canceled?
No. Oh, I don't hear anything.
Right, then they're being canceled too.
Yes, everything's being canceled. No, but those are some very good super chats. Hey man, you got any more super chats? Send them my way. In fact, I will favorite and like those super chats. That's how much I like them. Yeah, look at that. Yay, little hearts. Little hearts. So, in the end, can you really run evil campaign? Yes, I think you can.
Yes, but you need to be careful about it. You want to talk about it in advance. You want to make sure you're on the same page with each other.
In fact, and in video games, it's fascinating. It's the only video game that I ever saw, which is why I think people still can't believe that really works in terms of playing evil is Baldur's Gate 3. Because, man, I don't know how they did it.
A lot of video games do evil very badly. We could have an entire lengthy episode about how bad and problematic, just in terms of game design, not even in terms of morality, the evil in video games is, because I would love to talk about it. But I just want to give one simple example to show why it's so hard to get it right.
Okay.
In Knights of the Old Republic 2, there's a mentor who's a very evil, Sith-ish person who's always trying to get you to kind of be more like Palpatine and manipulating people. Okay. And so my friend who likes evil characters more than I do wanted to play that. He's like, I want to be Neo Palpatine. I'm going to be as manipulative and evil as possible. I'm going to be just like Palpatine when he was like trying to raise Anakin into being a Sith and do horrible things. So he's like, I'm going to be super evil. So he saved this one lady in the plot line. And there's even a dialogue with your mentor where the mentor's like, what are you going to do with? And they give you a choice that says, I'm going to try to win her trust with kindness, only so that I can use her as a pawn and sacrifice her to my ends. Okay?
I don't remember it. I played it, but it was a long time ago.
He picked that option, which you would think that they know you're being evil after that. And then he went to that person right after that and was nice to her, and he gained light side points. He lost dark side points, and his powers weakened. Even though he had literally told the game that he was going to be doing this only for evil. The problem was, it's hard to register evil when you're trying to track a karma system of evil versus good versus try to register that you're doing it for an evil purpose or that you're doing it for a good purpose when you can only look at their actual actions.
Yeah, the problem with KOTOR, well, they started that. So KOTOR, actually BioWare, let's go back. BioWare started the whole good side, bad side thing. A lot of games back in the early 2000s did that. KOTOR was one of them. There was a lot of these games where you would either get good side points or bad side points, good, evil points, and that would sort of change the game and change the ending. But the problem with that is that I won't get it. Just too many. As you said, we get a whole show on that. But Baldur's Gate 3, what makes that one so fascinating is that you can kill everyone in that game. And it just keeps going. And that is unheard of and fascinating. Because you can kill your whole party. You can just play by yourself. And it just keeps going. The game will keep going. You can kill all the bad guys. You go to town and just start killing everyone. The game is designed, because it is a game, to keep moving. Now, the game's going to get really hard because you're killing everyone, but you can keep going. And it doesn't really tell you what's, quote, good or evil. It's how you play the game. So you're not told. Now, there are parts that are good or evil because you do. And the parts where it's told that you're good or evil are not internal, but external dialogues between your party members. And like anything else in real life, if you say the wrong thing, you could piss off people. And in this game, they'll leave. And that happens a lot in this game. Like if you have to understand their morals, and if you go against their moral
that happens
system,
in pretty much any game with companions.
You're right, but there's this.
And they'll leave, or they might even try to murder you.
Right.
Sometimes they'll try to murder you right away, even without any kind of in between. For example, in Dragon Age Origins, when I was trying to unlock one of the subclasses by putting the Joan of Arc Jesus deity or character's ashes into a demon blood, it caused all the religious characters, including my character's girlfriend, immediately tried to kill me for doing that. Okay, so that, and there are a lot of other games.
There's a lot that do it. I'm just saying that one, because the amount of dialogue in that game and the nuance in that game is that I have not seen a game that has done it. Like a lot of the games, I'll put it this way, a lot of the games I could picture in my head the chart. Like I could picture the decision chart in my head because that's how big they are. There are trillions of decisions. Like I don't even know how they did it. I don't even know how it was humanly possible because there's infinite. It seems like there's infinite decisions in Baldur's Gate 3. It just never stops. To the point that no one's even come close to seeing everything. I mean, that thing has like probably trillions of hours played by now. And they're like, yeah, we still haven't even seen everything. There's still things people have missed. I was like, how's that even possible? Anyhow.
It just is because that's how exponential exponential combinations work. Right?
I know,
like,
but it's still amazing.
You're not lying that there are trillions of combinations, but there have been nowhere near trillions of hours played because there, like realistically, there just aren't trillions of hours to go around. So you're never going to see the trillions of decisions.
But also, people will naturally, and when you see these decision trees, it's very rare unless it's a very easy. It's rare, especially if there's a moral choice. You will often see it heavily leaning towards one side, and then the other side's like people aren't
That's the
choosing those
issue.
paths. Right.
And there are also some of those trillions of combinations that are not even that internally consistent, which, to be fair, sometimes people aren't the most consistent in real life either. But so those combinations are less likely to be seen because they require you to decide one way in one place and then something very different that doesn't make that much sense in another place. So you'll often find that sometimes there are certain decisions that go together, because once you've made that one that you're going to help the druids or whatever, you're likely to do other ones that are friendly to the druids in the future instead of kill them after that.
But that's why also people now, that's one of the few games you can really do multiple playthroughs, because you can play that game and just see completely different stories every time. It's a fascinating game from so many points of view.
Well, for sure.
It's just endlessly interesting. But as I was saying, it's like, I think the only way you can truly be evil is either you're pirates, like, that's easy evil. I will call that.
Well, I think you need a template that is visible in people's mind, or a lot of time to talk it out. Pirates, you don't need as much time to talk it out. But the reason you don't is exactly what you said earlier in the episode, Stephen, which is that everyone knows what pirates are.
Yes.
So you already have built in a lot of the things you would have needed the conversation for. You still probably want to talk about, like, type of a few topics that come up in piracy and whether you guys are going to do that kind of stuff or not. But that is a much shorter conversation than if you're just like, we're an evil group in a fantasy setting, because that could be anything.
I'll tell you another one that completely succeeds at being evil. And it is, okay, I totally forgot this. It's one of the most successful, popular series in all time. There's over 10 games in this series. Do you know which one I'm talking about? And I totally forgot.
Series that's very, very popular of all time. Grand Theft Auto, you're pretty evil, but that doesn't have.
But that doesn't have 10 games.
Enough games. I know.
Games. That actually, I would say Grand Theft Auto. You're right. Grand Theft Auto. You're not necessarily evil. You are whatever you want to be. That is, you do evil things, but you don't have to. If you want to just steal ambulances and pick up people and do the job of an ambulance, you can. You can actually be good in that game. It's just hard, but you can. Yakuza. If you play the Yakuza games,
I was going to guess that next because
that's it.
I thought there might have been 10 because of how many legged dragons there are.
Yeah. Yakuza is fascinating because that's very similar, because the Yakuza are evil. They're a criminal organization, yet they have an incredibly powerful law. Loyalty?
They have strict rules, and there are things that they do, like in the aftermath of the tsunami, they were helping people too. They're quite an evil criminal organization.
No, they're evil.
But they are very, very lawful.
Right, they're very lawful.
Well, that's why I was saying you could have an order of assassins with strict rules. I'd said assassins, but I was also thinking of Yakuza and other organized crime when I was saying that too.
What makes Yakuza so good is that, yes, you're in the Yakuza. Yes, you have some like really evil guys. Yakuza 6, holy crap. Or is it 7? I think it's Yakuza 6 or 7, where there's some really evil guys in that game. But like a dragon, oh my God. Now you want to talk about goofy. Okay, that's also what by the way, why the Yakuza games work so well, is that you will have these incredibly deadly serious cutscenes where people are cutting off their pinkies because they shamed themselves. And then you are literally going to a side quest where you're taking care of man babies and you have to bottle feed them. And you're like, what the? I mean, it is such a goofy game, but that is the closest to a D&D session. If you wanted to do a D&D session and make a game, I would model it over.
So you're the closest. So you heard it here, everyone. You can feel free to comment on Monday and tell Steven's players. Steven says that the closest he's ever come in a video game to GMing for his group that he's GM'd for over 30 years is feeding man babies with a bottle.
That's right.
Yakuza is taking care of a group of man babies. That's what he thinks that GMing for his group is.
That's right. No, there's some. I was thinking that because that's one of the most. That's a notorious. It's in every. I think in every Yakuza they have the man baby scene, and there's a couple of these crazy scenes that just come up in every single series every single game. They just change it around, but it's always in all of them. There's so many in that game, and even the characters are just like, what? Like, even they're just like, but then they just go with it. And that's the other thing. It's just so well. The tone of those games is so well. Oh yeah, the Yakuza, the pirate themed sequel. I never played that one, but that one took one of the most popular characters in the game and made him into a modern day fun pirate. And it's very, very, very silly. Very silly. I never saw that actually. Steven is spitting. Yeah, like a dragon. Oh yeah, pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. Yeah, oh, it's so good. I didn't play it, but I saw the videos and I was just like, it's only like a 20-hour game, but I have to really be in the mood to play a Yakuza game because it's such a weird, your mind is always jumping between disconnects because it's like, okay, here I am, I'm fighting people, I'm beating them up, I'm getting money from them, and then I'm fighting with crawfish in the ocean, and I'm like, and then I'm doing like mini bike races, and I'm like, what the hell? It is so crazy. It's really good.
So weird.
Oh, it's so good. It's such a good game. Actually, the Like a Dragon, the first Like a Dragon, I played that whole thing from beginning to end in like a week because I had so much fun with that one. The last one, which a lot of people like, the one in Hawaii, I don't know. I had a lot of trouble. There was too many systems, I think. I had a real I never finished it because there was actually too much in that game. There's a whole Pokemon system in that game. Literally a Pokemon. Oh, someone wrote here. Oh, yeah, Like a Dragon literally has a Pokemon professor asking you to pick a colored guy between, yeah. And then you go to an island and I'm like, that was a game within a game. Like there's 15 games in that game. You know what it's like? Because you played it, Persona 5, Persona 5, it just never ends. Yes. It's like, okay, you can literally just play pool. And there's a whole pool game. You could play darts.
Not only can you do, well, I mean, the pool in Persona 5 is just like you just decide what kind of a shot you're doing.
That was not so good, but the darts game is very good. The one that you can
play is Tycoon. You can literally play the card game Tycoon with the other characters to unlock like cosmetic stuff and like soundtracks or videos.
Yeah, there's a lot
like
in that game. Oh, someone wrote the Cabaret mini game was the best. I loved the Cabaret mini game. I've actually played that to like I spent way too much time in the Cabaret mini game. I loved the Cabaret.
There you go. Okay, Steven loves Cabaret. So everyone, if you have thumbs,
well, Japanese Cabaret.
If 100 people like it, Steven's going to sing the Cabaret song.
Do you know what
Cabaret?
Cabaret is not what you think it is. It's not singing and it's not dancing. It's escorts.
Okay.
In Japan, it's a little different. There
you go. I mean, that's what cabarets kind of had. That's why the musical Cabaret was kind of about a club that had like that sort of connotation.
It was a cabaret though in Nazi Germany. It literally was a cabaret.
Yeah.
Now the Cabaret minigame is basically you have women, they're companions, and they will sit with you and just make you feel good about yourself. But you have to buy them champagne. You have to give them gifts and stuff like that. It's a whole thing. It's part of that's something else, by the way, is if you want to understand Japanese culture, I would say Yakuza is really good, actually, because the cities look very similar. And even Persona 5, when you go to
and Persona 5, if you want to learn about different areas of Tokyo, I can tell you that the areas of Tokyo that they took me to in Persona 5 were actual things. In some cases, I could
guess
exaggerated,
but
but like you usually only go there to be like, I'm gonna go to this section to buy electronics, and it is where you would go to buy electronics. In fact, I could even guess based on the subway connections and notice on knowing where places in Tokyo were. I was like, okay, this is gonna add Akihabara to this spot eventually. It's not here now, but later in the game, it will, and it did. Right, because it was actually correct about where things were in Tokyo.
I played Persona 5, then went to Tokyo, and actually knew a little bit around the layout because of Persona 5.
Yeah, there you go. You could totally learn it from that.
But they only do like the main, like Akihabara, like they only do like
a lot of the main
intersections,
touristy areas that you would want to go to.
Yeah, no, they have
in there. There's quite a few that you can hit. they're not main areas. Some of them you can only go to
some were
when
like,
you're like for a date with one of the NPCs, but it's still it's accurate.
How many of the NPCs did you date in Persona 5?
In Persona 5, Steven, I was getting all the Steam achievements. I dated all of them, and and then the Valentine's Day at the end was hilarious.
You heard that here first. There is an achievement where there is no kidding, like something like 12 female NPCs that you can date, and there's an achievement you have to date all of them at the same time, and then if you do, they all show up on Valentine's Day, and you are caught. And it is you did it, man. You know what? I was having a hard
Sojiro somehow gets you out of it, and I'm not sure how. It raised my respect for Sojiro, like in some ways, as like at least to his diplomacy skill, like how he convinced them. Like, okay, the thing where they saw you on Valentine's Day with one other person, or you didn't call them, maybe he could have convinced them. But the problem is that 10 people showed up with Valentine's, and so it's going to be hard to convince the other 9 who also showed up with Valentine's and were yelling at you that nothing was going on.
As I was dating, what's the woman in your party?
Which one? There are multiple women in your party.
The blonde, the supermodel.
She's the one who is
the American.
Where she is? No, she's from Scandinavia, half Scandinavian.
Oh, right. But so
I think she's from Finland, because I think Takamaki is a Finnish last name, not a Japanese.
So in the game, I was dating but then I was also dating the doctor, and I felt bad. I was like, oh, I can't. You see, there's my morals. I was like, oh man, I can't date 2 people. But I kind of I'm like, I couldn't do it. I was like, I feel so bad. But then I was talking to Jason, who also, by the way, he also platinumed the game, and he's like, Steve, it's a video game, just do it. And I was like, oh, okay.
Steven, it's a video game, so dating the doctor in real life is already a problem. Because
I liked her storyline. She has
a really good storyline. But like, it's already a problem because your character, if this was real life, your character is a high school student. She was way older than you, Steven. Too. Yes. Whereas in actual like Persona, this is like not a real life. This is just like,
well, she was a doctor. She was like the craziest doctor. This is like
your timelessly wise Persona character who has no real age, because they're a god being who has these other deities grafted to their soul, and also Steam achievements.
Oh, yeah, it is.
So maybe that's the answer for evil, Steven. Yeah. You were saying there's no good incentive. What if there was a Steam achievement to do evil things in your D&D or Pathfinder campaign?
I was there.
What if you offered achievements?
So back when I was doing Gaming Steve, and when the Xbox 360 came out, and they the ones who invented that achievement system, and I was there, and I was talking to the guys. What was his name? I probably have his card somewhere. I was talking to them about that. And I remember I was at New York City, and we were at a bar where they were showing off Xbox. It was like the beginning. When Xbox 360 was just launching, and they were doing like that, and we were like, "Oh my god!" Like this achievement, it's like, what a great idea! And then you saw the little dink come up, like remember the little achievement, and then, man, that thing caught on. And then you remember who did achievements next? Is that then I was talking to John Stats and World of Warcraft. They're like, that is a great idea, and then they stole that, and then they went crazy after that, and the achievements took off, man. Achievements took off, but. It was just this idea they came up with. But there's an example. That's like the alignment system. That thing is long gone. You think Xbox could say they invented that, which they did. Do you think they can copyright? No, that thing is gone. It's they never enforced it. It's long gone. It's outside their realm of control. So
people in chat are saying that there should be an Eldamon, Shin Megami Tensei, or Persona, and I said Elemental Avatar.
Yeah, that actually is.
Elemental Avatar basically is like, you've got this, your Eldamon is kind of like your Persona, that it's not really there on the field. You're doing the powers, but you can call upon it. You've seen the art of the Elemental Avatar where like you sometimes see the vision of like this wolf that's just like out there.
Yeah, I mean, you can do it differently. If you want it in your game that is literally a persona that comes out of your body and does it for you, you can do that.
And then comes right back in.
Yeah, it goes
as
back
part of the visuals. Visuals are free. You can do that. In fact, there's even feats that are about the Eldamon being within you and helping you throw off will saves or other things, because there is this second being inside of you. So they are there. So if you want it for the visuals of Persona, do it. Do it, I say.
You know, I kept thinking Avatar. Actually, you know what? The elemental Avatar is definitely closer to Persona than anything else.
It's kind of in between the two. But yeah, I always knew that. And the summoner class for Pathfinder 2 is also close to Persona, except or JoJo or something, because it's actually out there and is linked to you and is literally fighting your Eidolon with the summoner class. But yeah, Persona is a very good fit for it. And Steven, as I mentioned to people in chat, that time you put me on the spot and you were like, I'm going to the fair for all the IPs. What IP, if you could get any of them, would you say that I should get? And I was like, you know, Persona would be a good choice in general for a tabletop RPG.
Sorry, my dog's acting weird. I just heard something. I was like, what's going on? Oh, yeah, Persona would be... Well, people are starting to get antsy because I think it's been almost 10 years.
It's been a long time since
and
Persona
now people
5.
are like, where's Persona 6?
It's been so long that even I played it, and I usually play games out a long time after they come out.
Well,
Persona... But it takes a long time to make an RPG nowadays. How long did it take to make Baldur's Gate 3?
Well, part of that was COVID. Yeah, but Persona, it's been over 10 years. Almost 10 years.
Oh, that's fair.
I mean, it doesn't take that long. And to be honest, the Persona's not that hard. Not as hard as, because the layout, look at the design, the graphics. They actually have a fairly simplified graphic layout and design for Persona. They were cranking them out. If you look at between Persona 3, well, 1 and 2 kind of suck, but 3 is when it really turned into, quote, Persona. Persona 3 was great. Persona 4
so Baldur's Gate 3 took 6 years.
Yeah, but it was actually 7. But it actually
6 or 7. Although if you decide that you're going to count from Baldur's Gate 2 to Baldur's Gate 3, then it took way longer.
No, if you want to count, well, yeah, that's not true. Actually, if you really want to count, you start with Divine Divinity 1. It actually, if you really want to count, it's 15 years. It actually took 15 years, really, because they were planning it for 15 years.
Okay, fair. So Persona 4 came out in 2008. Persona 5 came out in 2016. So by that logic, Persona 6 should have come out in 2024. But it's a couple years late now.
No, but what they did is...
They did a lot of remasters. They
remastered.
And they redid Persona 3 entirely.
They remastered 4, and then they remastered 3, because they knew...
Well, they remastered all of them, but then they even did a remake, which is even more than a full remake, which is even more than a remaster for 3.
It's a hell of a lot easier making money to just remaster something and put it out again than start something new.
But the thing is, the 3 to 4 was only like 2 years.
Yeah, I know. Because it's easy.
And then it was 8 to 5.
Yeah, I know. Well, because 3 was a massive success. And that's when I heard about it.
Yeah, well, 3 is when they kind of changed it from being just like kind of just a part of Shin Megami Tensei, and it really became its own thing.
Well, that got...
I mean, I know it still has Shin Megami Tensei on top of it and uses all the demons and such, but it became more of its own thing with 3 and got really spun off into a series that was stronger than the series that spawned it.
Eldamon and Simant. So I actually played Simant. I played Simant, by the way. So
I played Simant too when I was little.
In the day, back in the early 90s, when SimCity was all the rage, and then they were coming out with every sim game known to mankind. And I would sit in the Tartan office at Carnegie Mellon, and we just got every game. Of course, we got them legally. They were not legal. But we got every single sim game, and I played every sim game. And I mean, every sim game ever. And there was so many. We played them all. I played every single one. Simant. I actually do remember Simant. It was so weird. Eldamon and Simant. Sim Tower, Sim Ant, Sim Farm, Sim Park. Yeah, I loved all those. Simant was epic. Simant. I don't remember any of that. Make Kingmaker the Ant Maker edition, guys. There's a couple of ant-type games that have come out recently that have... there's a fair number of them where you're playing like ants or insect-type games. I am sitting here. That's my new thing. I'm trying to decide what my next game will be to play. I was playing. I didn't like it as much as I thought I would. I was very excited about a game called
The King is Watching. Was that what you were playing?
I'm still playing that, but the problem with those games is like I kind of like it. You see a lot of it, and just you'd run out of things to do. The King is Watching. Modulus Factory Automation, which is a those Factorio type games.
Right, you were talking about that because Linda is playing
really excited.
Satisfactory.
Yeah, but it doesn't go as smooth, so I kind of stopped. Right now I'm playing Ball X Pit. I played that one a lot. I stopped that one. That one's really good, by the way. That one's hard to explain. It's a roguelike Arkanoid type game. It's like
a roguelike Arkanoid.
It's
there
good.
You go.
It's really it's good, but again, like most of these, it gets a little samey after a while.
I see. It's rated overwhelmingly positively.
No, it's good. No, it's really good. I would definitely recommend buying it because it is fun. I like to play 1 or 2 sessions a night. It's one of those like you can't play.
No, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Because I was playing a game recently called Cobalt Core that was fun, but not to play a lot of times in a row.
Exactly.
You're like these little kobolds. It's also roguelite or roguelike.
You know what everyone told me to play? You're
these little kobolds on a spaceship that's moving around and trying to dodge other spaceships and attack them.
Okay, everyone told me to play this, and I can't believe it, but they actually. No one's talking about it. Hold on. Oh, here it is. Dungeons and Dragons Battle Mart. Okay.
Dungeons and Dragons Battle Mart. Is it a shopkeeper sim, but for Dungeons and Dragons?
No, it's a tactical combat game where you use cards to fight.
The Dungeons and Dragons Battle Mart?
Yes. Battle Mart.
I can't even find Battle Mart.
It's called Demio. Here, I'll put it out. It's the weirdest title. My friends are all playing and they say it's excellent. And
I can't even find it with Google Battle Mart.
I know that's how rare this. That's how I was like, what? I heard of the game, but I didn't know anyone was playing it. It looks pretty good. I mean,
are you sure it's called Battle Mart?
I just put it down.
Battle Mart.
I said Battle Mart. Mark.
I thought you said Battle Mart, like a market. That's why.
Mark.
Okay.
Well, it's Demio times Dungeons and Dragons Battle Mart. So it's even more.
Demio times Dungeons and Dragons.
I know, I'm like, what the hell? Just call it something a little easier to.
Okay. That makes sense. Why you probably thought? Why is he asking if this is a market?
Oh, I see. Mark. No. Yeah. The graphics are nice too. A lot of my friends are playing it, and I think it's co-op too.
Let's see. It has online co-op.
Yeah, but it's a tactical game, like a standard, but it has card system too.
Tactical turn-based combat with Dungeons and Dragons Battle Mart, not a mart.
Yeah, no, people. I mean, it looks really good. The graphics, I'm saying.
It definitely has a nice aesthetic that looks like it's like your painted minis are just kind of attacking. Yeah. It's like it gives you vibes of like this is what Sigil could have been for your actual D&D campaigns.
Well, it's based off of a game called Demio. And,
that explains it.
Yeah, and they just reskinned it.
They reskinned it with some D&D stuff.
Yeah. So
there you go.
That's the one.
Demio Dungeons and Dragons Battle Mart. You heard it here.
$30. I mean, if anyone's playing it, let me know. I'm very curious if anyone is playing this game. This is the one I'm talking about. That. If anyone's playing that one.
So other people, Phoenix Garden Chat said, also heard Battle Mart and unironically got excited to play a Dungeons and Dragons Battle Mart. That actually could be genuinely
There's so
fun.
Many of those games.
Because but have you ever had one that is actually branded with Dungeons and Dragons and can just do the Dungeons and Dragons IP? And what I would do if I owned the IP to Dungeons and Dragons Battle Mart is I would do the type of humor from Star Trek Lower Decks that is poking fun at like the weirdest things that are technically canon from Dungeons and Dragons by having them come in with like being an attacked by some weird monster that is technically canon or bringing some weird NPC that's technically canon and do like the Lower Decks of D&D with Dungeons and Dragons Battle Mart. And you're just this shopkeeper and you've seen things like a person who's been farted on by a flump Sure, that happens in
This
Battle
game looks
Mart.
like it's be for mobile too. Let me see. I'm looking it up. This looks like a mobile type game. See, I'm so not into mobile games because I feel like playing a game on my phone is just such a waste of time. Plus, it's so small.
Phoenix Guard, I agree. You could open up your shop in different places. You say Baldur's Gate or Waterdeep. I say those are too similar to each other. How about opening up in like Mendo Berenzin or some even crazier place? Like open it up in Undermountain or something like that.
Man, so many
Down
games.
below Waterdeep.
I typed in Dungeons and Dragons on this store, and it's just like
Sigil, yes, absolutely.
too many things.
So if you're doing the in jokes, you could try to open up your store in Sigil, and then they'd be like, "Sorry, the Sigil branch went out of business," or something like that.
It's just like it hurts my brain.
So and people in chat are saying the Sigil could be the highest level one. Now, if you really have know some of the obscure lore from high level Dungeons and Dragons stuff, Union, the city that only showed up in the epic level handbook and where just randomly the city guards were higher than level 20, could be the craziest place to try to set up your store, because like what is even going to happen in Union?
Oh, yeah.
All right, too many people are excited about D&D Battle Mart, Stephen, with the T, the market one.
All right, well, you want that? I was actually playing that. You know what it's called?
What?
It's called, I had it here.
There's like a million where you're a shopkeeper of some kind.
Tavern Keeper. Literally Tavern Keeper. I was just playing that the other day.
Oh, yeah.
Here.
I think that one's a well-reviewed game of its genre.
Yeah, it's okay. The problem with these games is just like, first it felt like real life because it's like, oh, you got to put an advertisement and hire this. I'm like, this is what I do in life. I don't need to relax. I'm like, okay,
but not everyone can be an entrepreneur like you, Stephen.
No, I know, but to me it was
imagine
stressful.
if someone else got to be Stephen Glicker. They want to be Stephen Glicker because it's amusing and interesting to them.
No, I didn't like it. Like, it's fine. The best ones of those are Dave the Diver. If you're going to play any of those management type games, Dave the Diver wins, period. Because that one, the graphics are great, the music is great, the animation is great, the balance between running a sushi shop and then going down to fish the sushi, really good. Like, really, really good. Anyhow, my dog's going crazy.
Yes.
So
people are saying they hated Union. Look, I get why people hated Union, but I had to bring it up because if this was the lower decks of D&D, Union has to come up because it's like the bizarre city that no one ever wants to talk about again, that doesn't make any sense, but that it's technically in the canon.
The two ones I'm thinking, I want to play maybe Marathon. That seems like a lot of work. And I do want to play...
Is that about being a marathon runner, or is it the Battle of Marathon, or neither?
Oh my God. If you don't know what Marathon is, I'm not explaining it to you.
Okay, fair enough.
Marathon was one of the all-time greatest shooters of all time ever. It was made by Bungie.
Let's see.
Put them on the map for the Apple. Marathon 1, 2, and 3. It was considered the greatest shooters ever made.
Wow, somehow I had never heard of this.
Oh, Marathon? It's so good. Actually, Halo was just a sequel.
Halo, I know.
Well, Halo is a sequel to Marathon. Like, it's literally... Halo is just Marathon 4. That's really all it is.
Fair enough. I just never happened to
like
have heard
everything
of it.
in Halo was
Shooters is not my genre, to be fair. Yeah. But
I'm not that great.
I can just
either.
tell you that there can be a person who doesn't play shooters who did not know what Marathon was.
Yakuza 0 director's cut. Yeah, Yakuza 0. That's the one. That is excellent. Oh yeah, Crimson Desert. I know everyone's playing that. The thing with Crimson Desert is I want to wait a little longer before, because they keep making updates to it. That is the definition of a game that will be way better in 6 months than it is now. So I keep waiting for it to get better and better. So I probably won't play that one. But man, people want to play. You don't want to play my life. My life is brutal. It's fun but brutal.
I mean, real life can be brutal for everyone. So Steven Glicker Simulator would be like the rosy serial numbers filed off version of Steven Glicker's
Everything
life. It
always
would
seems
not be
that's
your actual life.
Well, that's what I always said. It always seems fun. Like I told you, my wife she worked at 17 magazine, and everyone was like, "Oh my god, that seems so amazing! You're working in a magazine," and she's like, "It's a job."
Yep.
The only
Everything is
time
a
I
job.
truly had fun, and it was a job, but it was amazing, was when I worked at MTV. Oh, that was the best job. I was in charge of celebrities. I worked at a live show.
I remember you told me about that.
MTV,
I'm glad it was good. I thought that that could have been the other one that was secretly disappointing.
No, that was the grind after that. No, oh God, that every day, couldn't wait to go to work, couldn't wait to get up, couldn't wait to go and just hang out with celebrities. Basically, it was so much fun. Oh, here we go. You can add handle. You need 27.5 hours a day to accomplish all these things. Dude, you need more than that. I'm actually looking at I actually don't even know how to finish all the stuff I have to do. I have a list a mile long. Oh no! And then I just realized I didn't call someone who just called me, and I gotta make some notes.
Well, you better go to that. So should I give the outro so you can call that person?
Well, this is what happens is that right at 2 hours is when the chat really gets going. So,
I know there's so many fun things people are talking about.
Now it gets everyone's like into it. I was like, that's why Derik does the 3-4 hour streams, because it really gets going around 2 hours.
You build up momentum, you get a really good conversation going back and forth with people, and then you have to stop. Like on my streams with Linda, we stop often at 30 to 40 minutes, and that's right when people start talking like at all.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we have a few dedicated people who always show up and they carry it. But if we're talking about new people, you won't see them until 30, 40 minutes in, because they haven't had time to see it from the algorithm, even if the algorithm is being very aggressive.
This doesn't make sense. Glicker Simulator would be detecting which art is slop and failing. I don't use any slop. Everything
he has succeeded. Didn't he make the video about
I
how
know,
he
it's
caught
actually the opposite. I mean, everything I have is handmade.
No, maybe what he's saying is that the simulator, the people playing as you would not be able to succeed.
I don't know, man.
Yeah. That they would fail because they have to try to figure it out, and they'd mess up and then release the wrong art or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because most people are probably not as skilled that you are at detecting it. I'm not.
It's getting hard though.
I can't tell the difference a lot of the time because I'm bad at telling, especially since they're now hiding sometimes behind like what look like real artists, or having some that may have been real and stolen on the same page with ones that are AI.
It's very hard, but the easy way is when you work with people, you just
when you make them show their work,
because you basically make them show their work. Yeah, that's how you do it. That's the only way you could do it at this point, or you just know who you're working with. And also the other thing is that makes it easy is you just add. I mean, I did it in my video. It's like you just add for files with layers, and that's it. It's like, okay,
the AI cannot produce the layers.
Yeah, but it doesn't do that. It's just one image. And then they're like, but they were doing that. The AI people were going, okay, but I could tell because they would add like 1 layer or 2 layers, and they were just garbage. And they were like, I'm like, okay, these people obviously don't know how to, like, they would just say, oh yeah, okay. And then they would just add 1 layer. But what's amazing, every single one of them said it wasn't AI. Every single
Of course they lied.
one. I know, but it was just, even
it's
when
very
I proved
depressing,
it to them,
but
even when I proved it to them, they were like, no, it's not. I'm like, but it is.
There are people who just will keep lying up to the maximum point when they have been caught. Like there's one person who was like cheating at an event, and my parents basically caught them because of the fact that they essentially were using a computer lookup tool to get an answer, and it gave them an answer that no human would ever possibly give about, like, I think it was like the author of the book The Nutcracker, when the actual answer that was wanted for the question was about Nutcracker Suite, which many people know way, way, way more than Hoffman, who wrote the book. And then eventually the person was like, oh, well, okay. Do you know, can you prove it for any of these other allegations? Like, no. Okay, well, okay, I'll admit to that one, but not all the other ones. I didn't do it.
Yeah, well, that,
like, these sometimes people are very glib and they will just keep lying to you.
Yeah, well, that's human nature. But well, these are people. Some of these are people on Fiverr, and well, I'm like, I forgot. I have some elite status on Fiverr, and all I did was report them. And I gave them 1 star and reported all of them because they're like, "Oh, let us know who did that, and we'll take them off the platform." So in the end, they all got delisted. So good job, guys. Good job lying and saying you were original.
Well, they can just make new accounts, I guess, but at least they have to build up their reputation.
Yeah,
with those.
it's a little easier said than done.
You help by finding them.
Well, no,
other people may have been fooled.
Well, I talked to this rep and I told him, and he's like, "Oh, tell us." He's like, "We'll get rid of them." I'm like, "Okay, good," and I did. So
that's good.
But my dog's going crazy, so I guess.
All right. So in that case, and you have to call someone. So everyone, we did enjoy chatting with you. Thank you for joining us and for having a lively conversation here near the end. But until next time, if you want to battle the zoo, you have to roll for combat.
Bye.
Eldamon, the hit D&D and Pathfinder supplement that brings Pokemon-style gameplay to your tabletop games, is finally getting a massive update. Roll for Combat, the company that brought you Battlezoo Eldamon as well as countless other supplements for your tabletop role-playing games, has just announced Eldamon Legends, which is a fantastic Kickstarter that you can back now to bring all sorts of new Eldamon, elemental powers, and items to your worlds. If you're new here, Eldamon are elemental spirits that take on the form of creatures, which you and your party can make alliances and travel the world with. You can train them, evolve them into more powerful forms, and pit them in battles against other Eldamon. Or you yourself could become an elemental avatar and wield powers of darkness, or music, or fire. And the brand new Eldamon Legends Kickstarter brings you a bunch of new items that you and your party can equip, over 136 more Eldamon to populate your world with, and brand new legendary Eldamon to track down. Plus, the Kickstarter has all sorts of goodies available for its backers, including special dice, deluxe covers for the original Eldamon series, and more. So be sure to check out the Eldamon Legends Kickstarter today to begin harnessing the elements for yourself.